Hey everybody, it's the Pitcher Response Podcast. I waited too long; it started going away, and then I was like, I don't know if I'm supposed to talk over it, and now here I am doing that. So yeah, my name's Nathan, aka Kraznor, maybe
As
with
you're
a
better
G.
known. Yeah.
Now, yeah, thanks for doing that. Paul is here as usual.
Yes, hello.
He's running the whole program. You know, he's kind of in
Behind the scenes.
yeah,
You're running the
producer
forefront.
in studio, and we're joined by Jimmy, aka James, or Oni.
Okay.
Yeah,
And apparently, as by you, aka Charles.
yeah, Charles.
Chuck.
If you know, on occasion.
Chuck himself, star of the television series, is here with us today. How are you doing?
Yeah, Zachary Levi.
Yep.
The only Zachary I
Levi.
ever think of is Zachary Ty Bryan, and it's a bad habit to get into because home improvement is no longer a thing. So that guy doesn't get work anymore.
Yeah, what happened to Jonathan Taylor Thomas? Where's that guy?
I don't know. Like, where's him being kicked out of the United States for driving drunk?
Oh
That
wait,
never
was
happened.
oh was that a thing where like Justin Bieber, like enough people signed a petition, so he had to get mentioned in Congress or something?
I don't know, but he has to get mentioned in this podcast at least once as per our sponsorship deal.
Yeah, well, Canadians and everything, we stick together. We talk about each other.
Right. Our sponsor is Canada. So
Yeah, surely he talks about us all the time on his Twitter. I'm pretty sure. I
it's
just
kind
don't
of part of the
follow him,
law.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, let's change gears right to stuff I was doing because I'm selfish like that.
Yeah.
Movies.
Yeah. Okay.
Have you heard of this Great Digital Film Festival thing that happens?
I have, but yeah, I don't.
You just don't care about the lineup ever, or what's going on?
The lineup? No. No, I just don't go.
Okay.
You went, though.
Yeah, I enjoy this whole idea. It is basically just, hey, it's a really slow month for movies, so why don't we show a bunch of old movies people may actually want to come see? Seems to be probably the mentality. It's a thing our Cineplex does pretty much annually now, maybe biannually even. It seems to happen more and more. But yeah, it just wrapped up last night. Was the last day. And I don't know, I probably missed a few things that I wouldn't have minded checking out, like Tim Burton's Batman might have been okay, seeing that. But the ones I did see were primarily because I'd never seen them before, and it was like, what better way to see them than in a big theater environment? And that was Flash Gordon, followed up immediately by Logan's Run. So
Okay.
a pair of sci-fi fantasy business from the late 70s, early 80s. And I don't know, those were pretty entertaining films for
Okay.
various reasons. I had a great time. Have you seen?
Let's start
either-
with. I have not. Let's go. I actually own Logan's Run. I just haven't seen it because that is on DVD, packed in a box somewhere forever.
Okay.
But yeah, I like whenever I get to unpacking all the DVDs and putting them back on the shelf because it looks kind of neat and no other reason really, I might take it out of the lineup and watch it one day.
Okay. I'd probably recommend doing so. It's very like I guess the thing between both of these movies that I was just like, yeah, was practical special effects. Like, this was before everyone just phoned it in and called Industrial Light and Magic. And there was like, hey, can you put a computer, something, just type up some CG for us, and then we'll just put it in there and whatever. That's how we'll do this special effects sequence. We got a bunch of green screens. We don't care anymore. There's like no craft. It's just all computers, and it's soulless and horrible. And I'm not actually that old, and I don't feel that strongly about it. But I don't know. There's something about that is just a dude in a robot costume, and it looks kind of shitty, but it looks real. Like that's a real thing on the screen. These people, these actors are occupying the same space as that thing they're talking to. Something about that I appreciate. So there's a shitty robot costume in it. Like, that's kind of a cool thing. But more so, it's just the production design, like the weird futurescape they made in Logan's Run is just weird. It's just like everyone's got crystal in their hand and you have 30 years to live, and like the color changes of your crystal, and then eventually it starts flashing, and that means it's like your last day and you're supposed to be executed. And that basically happens to a cop in this world. It kind of reminded me of Minority Report a little bit, like just in concept of like a cop being trapped by his own thing and then having.
But like good.
Minority Report's a great film, so I don't know what you're getting at, but yeah.
All right. It has some. I will say, Minority Report has some of the best effects ever. Still, it's just the idea that the computers and shit and all that. I don't know. As a film, I didn't find it too enthralling myself, but
I remember it ends less cool than the stuff that happens earlier. Like it's like once it all ties up, you're just kind of like whatever. But good stuff happens over the course of that movie. And plus, I just like a chase movie. So there's just stuff that is just like this dude's being chased. Also, I guess another thing, this movie predates PG-13 existing, so it is a PG movie, but there's nudity everywhere because who cares? It was the 70s. So like there's like this weird sequence. It's all slow-mo. And it's like this weird steamy sex club that he's like getting chased through by this other dude. And there's just like weird druggy tripped out nonsense happening. You're just like, what is happening? There's just like orgies going on in the background, but it's all like flashing colored lights and a lot of editing. So they're kind of like,
this sounds like your type of movie right here.
Yeah, it was great. Like, that part of that movie. Oh man.
That one part.
Yeah. Put over the top. No, I don't know. It was so 70s, and that's exactly what I wanted. Like, it just fits right next to, like, Zardoz. Like, specifically, Zardoz kept coming to mind as being like, all right, this is kind of like that, and I love that, so this is okay. And, it's like, future cop dude, like, finds this weird thing on a guy he chased down, and then brings it to the computer, and the computer gives him this weird mission to, like, find sanctuary, like this place that may or may not exist outside of the dome. Like they're inside like a giant dome city, and he's just like, what are you talking about? And it's just like, all right, what's gonna happen is we're gonna fast forward your crystal to the last day, and you are then gonna infiltrate this kind of resistance movement and see if this is a real thing. And he's just like, I don't know if I want to do that. What? And then it's just like, no, it's already happening. Go. And he's like, oh shit. So then like his former friends are chasing him, and he's kind of trying to figure out like what to do. And he's just on the run. And yeah, cool stuff. And then, you know, I don't want to get right into what happens like towards the end, but I don't know. There's some sinister, weird things going on. I guess the main thing, though, is like there's no real antagonistic force other than one of his friends. Like, I don't know what's going on in this future society, like who's running it, who's pulling the strings. It's just everything's run by like this automated computer system and this weird crystal. And it's weird, but great. Anyway, explaining it more doesn't make any sense. There's some cool stuff that happens, and it was a fun watch. Seemed really long, though, at some point. It's only 2 hours, but like, just, I don't know, like the way the story arc goes, like there's a point like 3/4 through the movie I was just like, what? Like, this is just opening up more and more. Like, it's just an infinite movie. Like, they could just keep going for another hour and I wouldn't be surprised. And then it's just like, no. And then everything wraps up really quickly. It's weird. But I don't know. So maybe some pacing issues, but overall I was really entertained. Flash Gordon, though, that movie, I don't know. It's campy, and I think they know that it is. Like, they have to. But at the same time, there's like certain sequences that are just sort of genuine enough that it's just like, all right, like this is just old school stuff. Like, there's Timothy Dalton and Sam Jones, I guess, the guy who plays Flash, are just sword fighting on a giant disc that has spikes on it over a infinite oblivious void. And that's just a thing that happens. Like, there's just this kind of fight to the death in this weird setting. And I don't know. Like, again, just dumb practical effects. They play the same Queen song over and over. Like, just the same one. I don't know if you've heard.
Which one?
It's like, Flash, he's a miracle. And it's just like, okay, great. And then it just keeps doing that. And they'll just cut to Flash on a, like, flying scooter. And then cut back to weird stuff going on. And then cut back. And then it says it again, Flash, save every one of us. And you're just like, okay. Like, they just cut up this song and repurpose it as score throughout huge stretches of it. So, I mean, it just opens with that song as, like, over the credits, and it's pretty great. But, yeah, I thought the whole score was Queen. It just seems they redid this one song a bunch. So you're going to hear the same stuff over and over. But, I don't know. Timothy Dalton. Dude, do you like Timothy Dalton?
Yeah.
Okay. He's in it way more than I thought.
He is not the worst Bond.
You're right. He's one of the better ones, maybe, even.
Maybe. He just didn't have enough time to really let his wings soar.
I know. He's only in 2 of them. But
yeah,
he's game for just dumb stuff in this movie, and it's kind of great. Like, there's laser rifles and shooting. And the costumes are crazy. Like, there's so many weird masks in this movie. I love weird masks. So...
Do you love Eyes Wide Shut, then?
I do.
Okay, because of the masks?
It helps a lot.
And because of the nudity.
Masks. Well, it's both at the same time. What more do you want? So
it's true. Yeah. What better than to look at somebody's naked body and not have to care about who they are as a person?
That makes it sound weirder than I intended.
Nathan Rohr, 2014.
I didn't say that last sentence, but
that needs to be on a t-shirt.
Yeah, no. Exactly.
No, it shouldn't. Just weird, incriminating.
Make a bumper sticker.
T-shirts. Yeah, it's like this random guy. It's kind of creepy. It's like what?
You just see cars all over Calgary in like a year from now with this bumper sticker on the back that says like, "What better than to see a naked body?" Blah blah blah. Kraznor, 2014.
Yeah. That's somehow the one thing that catches in the public's mind.
That's the one thing. Everything else, the things you say, you didn't even say it.
And like the original message was like, Flash Gordon's a cool movie. And it's just like, no, I don't know. That's not what I heard.
You got to know how to market.
Yeah.
You watch Mad Men.
Yep. That's what they said.
Yeah.
This movie is just going for dumb entertainment value, and I was pretty much entertained. Like the guy who plays the mad scientist in it does a great mad scientist. I think his name's Topal. That's his name. The actor.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's like Dr. Zarkov or something. He just kind of nails it. And whatever. Like I felt kind of dumb seeing it because it's like you saw Ted, right?
Yeah, unfortunately, yes, I did.
Yeah, I hate how much that movie leans into Flash Gordon because it's actually kind of a fun movie, but now it's like been overshadowed by Seth MacFarlane ironically liking it or whatever. Like I felt kind of like
I don't know if he ironically likes it, but
okay,
he might genuinely.
Maybe he genuinely likes it. Sure, I don't know what his purpose is in how much they put that movie center stage.
Well, his purpose is money.
Yeah, I don't like Seth MacFarlane.
I don't either. Fuck that guy.
Part of this thing. That dude makes me annoyed that I liked a movie he liked. Like, that's how much I don't like that dude.
Okay, so, that's way more than I don't like him. I just don't want to watch his stuff, so...
Yeah, it's just kind of like, I felt dumb walking... Like, it's like, I saw this movie because I wanted to see this movie. It has nothing to do with this other guy, but I don't know why I'm thinking about it so consciously. So, I have some weird issue with Seth MacFarlane.
Seth MacFarlane, yay or nay?
No.
So, nay. Okay. Like, ever, though? Because there's a lot of people who are like, no, I like, that Family Guy season 1 too. That was okay. That was all right.
Well, it's like, even though he worked on some of this, the older Cartoon Network stuff in the early 90s and all that, it's just now he's gotten so bad.
Like his ego, his head is swelled.
Yeah.
With the attention granted him. And I don't know. I don't like how many people have like validated him being like, they're like, no, he's really talented. And you're just like, no, he's not.
Didn't he host like the Emmys or something? He hosted something big. I can't remember what it was because
I know he does the roast, like he did Charlie Sheen's roast.
Okay, he did that. I know he hosted something though, where maybe it was like the Grammys or Oscars or something. I don't know. I can't remember.
It says hosts Oscars.
Oh, he hosted the Oscars, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I saw it, too. It was just so forgettable. I forgot all about that.
Kind of like everything he does, which is ironic because his shtick is memory and nostalgia. So, that is the definition.
He's going to be hosting it again? Oh, won't host Oscars.
No, of course not, because why would he host the Oscars? He hasn't done anything worthy of any award except for maybe the Lifetime Failment Award.
Again, but that's what I mean. It was like, I think it was when I was, I saw that first Star Wars special they did. And then on the special features, it was like him hanging out with George Lucas. And they were talking about how, they watch Family Guy a lot at Lucasfilm. And I was like, that is the most disappointing thing I've ever heard. I am so bummed out right now that someone I view as a creative, interesting person is like saying, you're okay to this kind of bootleg Matt Groening. You know?
Right. So, like, not only are they validating his existence, but that sort of thing is maybe making that person less valid in your opinion because he likes something that is really trite.
Yeah. Whatever. It's super petty to talk about it as much as I am right now, but I still just want to put that out there that guy sucks a lot. And you should feel bad if you're way into his shows. I don't know. That sounds weird, right? Saying that.
No, it sounds pretty much like why people come to this podcast.
Okay, good. All right.
If anything else, it's more validated when it comes to McFarlane.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Maybe this will reach him somehow, and he'll be like, "Oh, never mind. I'm gonna retreat from the public eye."
So you had a good time watching movies, then?
I had a good time watching movies, and then I guess last night was the last night of the festival, and I watched Ghost in the Shell.
Now I know what you're saying. Anime's for jerks.
I actually was thinking of that quote as I was watching it, and I was like, Jeff Gerstmann was wrong. This is where everything cool came from. So things he liked may have spawned from this movie. So
a lot of cool ideas have come from anime originally.
Yeah, like it's just kind of like maybe it gets repurposed into something you like later, but anime is like this spawning pool where cool stuff comes out of. That said, I feel weird because like I wish I had seen the original cut. Like I didn't know going into this. I was like, okay, Ghost of the Shell is one of those movies I missed. People say it's like really cool. I'm gonna go see it in this theater setting, and that'll be a great way to see it. And then at the end of the movie, I found out, oh, that was actually Ghost in the Shell 2.0, the kind of cleaned up cut of the movie. So that wasn't the original article. Whereas like my brain, as I was watching it, was perceiving it as like, this came out in 1995. Holy shit, this animation is crazy. This came out and people were not talking about it enough then because Toy Story, fuck that. Look at this. This is crazy. And it's just like, that thought process was rattling around my brain. I'm just like, oh my God, my eyes can't believe that this came out 19 years ago. And then it's because, no, it didn't. It didn't. It came out in 2008. Like, that's why. So
yeah,
the visual quality I was perceiving was like mismatched with the era I was thinking of. But cool story anyway. Like, just kind of a slick sci-fi thing. Got some like, you know, good gun battles and stuff. That's the kind of stuff I would look for when I was younger. But there's also just like long sequences that are just like, this android lady is just having kind of an identity crisis and she's standing here and cool music's playing and the future and she's just kind of thinking about weird issues. And that's it. Like, that's the sequence. And it's just like, okay, that's interesting too. And then like all this stuff about the first genuine AI, like sentient AI being born and humanity not knowing how to deal with it. Have you seen it? Am I just talking to myself?
I saw part of it a long time ago when I was very young, so I don't remember it very well, but I do remember the PlayStation video game, and it was terrible.
Oh, that's a shame.
Well, I mean,
that totally makes sense that there are video games. Like, as I was watching, I was like, man, this is like, you know, like part of it was also, this is where like Hideo Kojima stole a bunch of ideas, like, which is fine.
Yeah.
But holy crap, like all my Metal Gear, like that part of my brain was being stimulated. And it's just like, oh, this is this stuff. Like, this is that kind of tone and like weird robot tank thing that there's one in the movie and android lady fighting it and whatever. And just, you know, information birthing intelligences and all this weird stuff. Like, it's a lot of that stuff happens in this as well.
Well, the cool thing about the video game is it had the like animation in it for the cutscenes and stuff like that.
Oh, just anime, like.
Well, and it was really well done. Like, you have to remember PlayStation era graphics and stuff, and they somehow put that shit in, and it looked good. Still, even like it looks pretty good. So at the time, that's kind of what people rented that for. Otherwise, it was just this like almost like a weird twisted metal game where you play the tank thing.
Mm-hmm.
And you're just like destroying other mechs, sort of thing. It was so dumb as a video game, but yeah, the anime part of it was cool.
Sorry, I'm just checking to see. Like the production studio here is Production IG. I'm wondering if they did the game too.
The game was THQ.
Well, but like which studio did the animation and stuff, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know.
Was it one of those games that took the animation straight from the movie and put it right into the game?
It might have, but I don't remember the movie well enough to tell you. It looks very familiar, a lot of the scenes and stuff.
Anyway, like Matrix is cited as like cites this anyway as a major inspiration point for its like visual style and everything. And
for like the
that
numbers
totally
and the green numbers scrolling and blah blah blah. Sort
yeah,
of
just
thing.
like there's just visual stuff where it's just like this is just computer stuff, but it kind of looks weird and chanting in a way, and this music like just weird chanting and drums as like computers and the internet. And the note it ends on is super great because it almost seems like a giant, really well produced pilot for the show, but I haven't seen the show.
Yeah.
And I guess like the original movie predates the show by like a number of years, so they didn't make this movie knowing it would be a show. But it ends with kind of like nothing has been resolved in terms of like the antagonists or whatever. It is just we now know the nature of this character, and we now like there's a whole world of possibilities open, and that is the end. And it's just kind of like, oh, interesting. Like, okay, the internet is crazy, and there's a lot of it. It's kind of just like the final thing, and you're just like, okay. I found maybe parts of it a little hard to follow early in the movie because like there's a really a jarring style change from the opening sequence with this one character to later in the movie. She basically goes from like a full CG character to an anime lady, and they sort of explain that, but it's kind of just like it took me a little while to be like, oh, this is that same character that did that crazy thing in the opening sequence, but she just looks completely different now for some reason. But okay, sure.
Because anime?
Because anime. But
yeah.
And okay, this is going to sound weird and like neckbeardy and gross in that way. But this movie has like the coolest nudity I've ever seen.
I was wondering when this was going to be brought up. Mainly
Like-
because my introduction to Ghost in the Shell as a kid and the reason why I looked into it at all was because of the thought of nudity.
Yeah, but it's like she's android, so she just does not care. So it's just like, I need maximum agility right now. I need to like totally wreck shit in this fight scene. Rip that coat off, throw on like kind of optical camo thing, and then just start wrecking people. And it's just like, okay, like whatever. Like she's just like super confident 100% because she does not have to care. So it's just like really weird. Like it's just like, okay, like the camera maybe gets a little gross sometimes with some of it. Like there's this android lady who's in this car accident, and at some point it's just like creepy Cronenberg kind of stuff. Like honestly, it seemed like
Crash?
anime Cronenberg.
Anime Crash?
Well, but like it's like half a person and like their arm is missing, but the boobs are still totally on display, and the camera's kind of interested in them. In a way that's a little like, all right, I don't know.
Nice.
Is this supposed to be like really uncomfortable? Or like they basically plug in this like person again, like reactivate this lady, and she just starts like gyrating creepily and like shaking in a way that's just like totally unnatural. So it's just kind of like
the only thing I'm hearing from you right now is chick naked with no arms and vibrating chick.
Gyrating boobs. And it's just like, yeah, exactly. Like if you just take the main like the highlighted words, it becomes just totally creepy in a way that isn't at all interesting. But it was
it's
honestly
totally
like,
anime.
like parts of it though, it was like this is such a better realization of some of the weird stuff Cronenberg tries to do live action, because like it's you can just animate the whole thing without any visual trickery or anything. So there's a part where the primary antagonist, like the major or whatever, Matsoko, she's an android. She's like ripping at this hatch, and her arms just give out and her robot limbs start tearing through her flesh. And the camera doesn't need to move or edit or anything. So it just shows you this like weird, freaky spectacle of this android giving out, kind of like just stopping to work. And she just like shreds apart. And it looked so surreal. Like it was just like, wow, I've never seen, like, I've seen Terminator and stuff, but I always know that is not actually Arnold Schwarzenegger cutting his arm. Like, something about it just doesn't look at all, like, real. It's just like, that's obviously fake. Somehow. Whereas this is, like, obviously fake because it's animated, but you're still kind of like caught up in that reality of the film. So I was still like super blown away when that happened. It's just like, oh, that's so crazy. This visual thing that just happened in this movie. Freaky, weird stuff. And I don't know. Androids, man. They do some cool stuff. Also, Deus Ex is less interesting to me now because they stole everything from this. Like, they just jacked all of it and put it in.
No, of course they did.
And it was close enough because, like, it's 1999. Not a lot of people have seen this yet. We're going to come across as, like, super creative. And you're just like, fuck you, Warren Spector.
With their first video game. Yeah.
Yeah, like, it's almost like like, that was kind of the other thing. It was like so many pop culture touchstones I have already consumed. I was like, oh, this is like further upstream from those. So like Metal Gear and Deus Ex and The Matrix all have to kind of shuffle down a little bit now because I know where they got their stuff. And
but
it's just like...
This is the exact reason why otakus are the most annoying people in the world to talk to. Ever. Yeah. Because they're just like, yeah, this was done in Senji no Shom blah blah blah. Whatever. Years before that. It's like, shut the fuck up. I don't care. I liked it in this.
I guess I'll counter that a little bit, though, by, like, all of this could also be looked at as, like, this is Blade Runner fan fiction, you know? Like, Akira and this, like, have to cite that movie as being super influential on their visual style and kind of their whole thing. Like, honestly, part of it could also be looked at as, like, this is just, like, what if replicants became the norm and were everywhere? And, like, that is the starting premise. And now the Deckards and stuff are, like, the minority. Like, there's a cop character who's just a normal dude, and he is, like, not, you know, he is at odds with the rest of society because everyone has started upgrading. So it's just, like, all these weird kind of problems of, like, what if your society, like, everything becomes replaceable to the point where eventually you have replaced your entire body with synthetic parts? Are you even yourself anymore? Like, what is any of your humanity left? What is humanity anyway?
Nathan.
Like, yeah.
You have to replace one body part with a synthetic part. What is it?
Well, I mean, my eyes aren't good, so I'd go with cyber.
Oh, yeah, you have glasses.
Yeah. It's pretty obvious.
Not only that, but that is totally within the realm of possibility right now today.
Although, dude, I know, you're right. So if I had to choose something crazy and weird from this movie, there's this part where this android goes to start coding, and his hands open up and form, like, 50 fingers, and he is typing like crazy, and it looked awesome. Like, I was just like,
so like each finger is on a different key.
Yeah, it's just like tons of little spindly mechanical pistons or whatever, just like typing everything at once super fast. And it was just like, this is the most mesmerizing. Like, I just want an infinite GIF of this, what's happening right now. Like, this is amazing. So yeah, there were frequently throughout that movie, just like moments where I was just like, this is the coolest looking thing ever. I can't believe, how did I never watch this? Wow. So that said, though, all that is kind of tempered by this was not the original cut. So I kind of want to see the original now to know what actually was the touchstone for everybody in the mid 90s. Like, maybe the original isn't as cool. I don't know, because I only have half the story. So this cool remake I saw was really great. But yeah,
I think this is where you and I differ the most when it comes to everything that we talk about. Is that I'm fine with watching the newest thing of something at the time where I'm interested, getting the best experience, and that's it. I don't care about the past, because why would I care about if they had to remake, not had to, but if they felt like they should remake it and do the best job possible, then I got that experience in the best way.
No,
but like you seem to care about the art, like the archives, and I don't. With
only in some cases. Like, I feel totally fine with, I saw like the Blade Runner final cut, and she's like, this is in my mind the best version of Blade Runner that exists. Like, I kind of have an academic curiosity about some of the lesser cuts from years past, but if I'm gonna just be like, here's Blade Runner, like introducing it to someone who hasn't seen it, I will show them that one, because it's like, this is the best version. Like, this is the iterated upon. Or it's like, you know, if I'm going to play Metal Gear Solid 3, I'm going to play the HD version. Because, like, why would I go back to, like, no, it was better on an SD TV. Like, who is that?
And the shitty controls.
Yeah, it was better. Like, before they changed the camera, Subsistence ruined everything. Like, if that person exists, that's weird. Like, video games especially, it's like, this is an iterative process. They get better as more versions come out. Like,
not to say you can't have nostalgia for like older stuff because that's what you grew up with, sort of thing, but like to just completely not recognize that the remakes are like the editions with video games specifically that they like fix stuff aren't better. That's just ignorance completely.
Well, no, it's just, I guess the thing with Ghost in the Shell specifically is like, I feel like this may well be a pretty important cultural touchstone in a way of like a lot of stuff I care about was influenced by a version of this story. I kind of want to know what they might have seen in 1995 to then be like, all right, me and my brother are going to make this thing called The Matrix. And then Hideo Kojima's like, all right, so Metal Gear Solid, or whatever. Like, again, I don't know if that's like as direct, but it seems like there's a lot of DNA from this story that could well have ended up in that. James, have you seen any of this? Am I just saying nonsense or?
I'm sure, like, with the Ghost of the Shell series, I've seen a little bit of the show, but I've never seen the movie. It's one of those movies that's in my incredibly big pile of stuff to watch that I'll eventually get to one day, but never really will.
Okay, that's fine.
But now that you're going on so much about it, I might dig it out and give it a shot because I have heard a lot of good things about it. But at the same time, like you're going on about, I've also heard that the original is better than 2.0 story-wise.
Oh, okay.
But then again, a lot of 90s animation, like stuff like Cowboy Bebop, Ghost in the Shell, et cetera, I know for a fact that Cowboy Bebop and Trigun had really good animation when they came out, so I wouldn't see why Ghost in the Shell wouldn't be in the same way.
Mm-hmm. Like, I was like really impressed by the vision. Again, though, like I felt like I was in this weird headspace where I was perceiving everything I was seeing as like future stuff. Like it's just like this somehow came out in the mid 90s, yet looks better than stuff I've seen from like the last couple of years. This is nuts. And it's just like, no, this is from the last couple of years. Like I just had a false premise in my head as I was perceiving it. So it still looked really slick. Like I was really impressed by a lot of the visuals I was seeing, but they're like 2008 visuals. So I'm very curious like how well the original, I mean, it was a well-regarded movie long before it was re-released. So there must be something there too, but I don't know. And I guess also it's the same like I was looking up why Production IG also did the animation on Attack on Titan. So very familiar to stuff we've been on about lately. But yeah.
Oh, and to answer your question about the animation with the video game, apparently the people that did the animation for the movie did like the storyboards and stuff like that for the game. So that could explain why the cinematics and stuff like that are so good.
Right, yeah. It probably is. I mean, and it has that look to Ghost in the Shell sort of. I don't know. From what I remember, like I'll look a video up later just to confirm it. But I remember the animation, like for a PlayStation disc, being really good. But yeah, I don't know. I hope I'm not completely wrong on that. I'll look it up later.
Well, I can't really.
Oh, sorry. No, go ahead.
Well, I can't really say exactly for the cinematics stuff like that because the only time I played it was back when they had demo disc and stuff like that.
Sure. Yeah. Exactly.
And they had a demo of like the first level of it. And I just remember that tank thing, even though it was kind of like smooth and clunky at the same time, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I know some of the animations for that were actually pretty good for a early PlayStation 3D model.
Right. Yeah, for sure. Like, I can't even remember when that game came out. It was, I think, a little bit later in the 90s, maybe like 97 or 8 or something. But I don't know. I just remember at the time thinking they got this pretty good. I just want to talk a second about demo discs and how cool they were, though. Because I do miss those sort of days where you get the PlayStation and it came with this disc of like 20 games you could try out.
Yeah.
And why would you bother buying Bloody Roar? Because I just played a bunch of rounds with my brother on this demo disc, and I'm done with that game because it's a fighting game.
Yeah.
So it was like getting 20 free games, and you might want to buy the full game for 3 of them.
Yeah. I mean,
the good days.
Like, that's how I first experienced Amplitude, and then I was like, that was a cool game, I'm going to buy it. And then I eventually
Gex,
did.
Enter the Gecko.
I didn't do that with that one, but, yeah, you get to sample a bunch of stuff. Some of them were, now I'm thinking back to like, I had PlayStation Magazine, so they would like have a disc in there.
EGM would do it too. PSM though, I was a huge proponent of PSM. I was into it.
Yeah, I played True Crime, Streets of LA that way. and decided it was okay, but not worth my time, and
That's
moved
how
on.
I played Siphon Filter the first time, and then bought it, and bought into every other iteration until they started sucking after the second one.
What? There was some weird Midway made airplane racing game. Do you remember what that was?
No, I don't.
Airplane Racer.
Oh yeah, that'll bring up
Freaky Flyers.
Freaky
was the name of
Flyers.
the
I
game.
never played.
Yeah, that
Never.
was one of those demos.
Yeah,
was
that
just
sounds familiar.
This is kind of weird. Okay. And then, yeah. So, demos helped me save a lot of money. So they kind of made no sense. Producing demos, I mean, I get why the public wants them, because you get to kind of try it out and see how you like it. But from a publisher perspective, like, there's few, unless you're really confident you got some good business. Like, I don't know, like, remember, like, Hour of Victory on the 360?
No, I don't.
It's like, I think it's also Midway. It was like this bad World War II shooter. They released a demo for that, and then basically everyone was like, okay, well, I'm not playing this garbage, and then that game failed. And it's just like, okay, why would you... Or like the Superman Returns game, there was a demo. Like, there was a lot of early cases when it was like, you need to have a demo available on Xbox Marketplace or whatever, where people would play it and then immediately just not be interested anymore. So they were doing a good job in terms of, customer relations, in terms of giving them enough information.
Right, but I mean,
decisions.
you know how to get away from that problem is just to make a good fucking game.
Yeah.
What's so hard about that?
So people should up their game. No, you're right. It's just, man.
I guess what I'm getting at in that regard is that if there are people that can just spend a year in their basement between jobs or whatever coding a game and then people like it and buy it, like the indie devs do now, what excuse was there ever for Gex Enter the Gecko?
Was it that bad?
No, it was just so not good.
Yeah.
Really?
Okay.
It was boring. I don't know, platformers, 3D platformers. Blech.
I don't know, because I recently bought that, and I'm fairly enjoying it.
I really didn't like it at all. I couldn't stand it. Although I liked Crash Bandicoot, I know a lot of people hate it. So there's that.
Like that generation of platformer stuff, I was kind of came up on Top Down Perspective this week is like, should this come back? Like, I thought we moved on for reasons,
For
like,
what, for platformers?
For like the collectathon style 3D platformer, where it's just like, you need 200 bananas /jiggies /stars, go get them, and that's the whole thing.
No, because that's what open world games can do now and provide you more. So that's the same thing. It's just like the collecting 1,000 orbs is optional, but there's still a game there.
Yeah, like I thought in Saints Row, I was actually really entertained by collecting stuff, but I also had other things to engage with. So yeah, just stripping it back down to there is a 3D environment, jump around is just, I don't know. That's that. Like if Banjo came back in that form, I probably wouldn't. I don't know. Like I don't know.
I'm still of the opinion that Banjo Kazooie or whatever Nuts and Bolts is the best game they ever released. Because fuck the normal 3D platformer version. I want to build shit. It was like Lego, and
it's one I've been
video
thinking
game I
of
didn't care about.
Going back to for sure, because like I remember I liked it okay at the time, but I also was kind of having tough time because it makes you kind of build better vehicles in order to complete these challenges. Where I was just like, just give me a vehicle I can use. Like I don't know. I got kind of frustrated eventually and stopped playing.
Because you were playing it like a video game. You weren't playing it like you would play with Legos and then put it down.
Yeah, I know. Like apparently just experimenting with the builder and doing that stuff was actually really fun. I just kind of did tap into that at the time. So, and that's exclusive to 360, right? Like there's no other release of that game.
I don't think there is another release. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I still have it. I can plug it in at some point and check it out, but it's just kind of, and like for me, those consoles are still plugged in. Like I don't view next gen as having happened yet.
I don't even own the next gen because I own a computer.
So we've already owned it for a while. It's kind of the
like
secret.
Kind of, and then when those games get way too intense, I will spend another $300, put in one component, and be able to play them.
Yeah, it's kind of weird because I mean, there was all that talk of like, oh man, Tomb Raider Definitive Edition 60 frames on PS4, and you're just like, yeah, it's also 60 frames on.
Yeah, I've been playing at
Right
60
now,
frames
I beat it.
this whole
It looked
time.
really good. So,
Yeah.
welcome to like a year ago, guys. Have fun. I don't know. It's like that master race mentality is probably right up there with otakus as being incredibly annoying and pretentious. But
Maybe, but I mean,
that's
it's
just how
really
it is.
warranted now. Like back then, still like the computers and consoles were still kind of still close because that's just what you could do with the technology at the time. But now it's like, no, the computers are far superior because that's what they developed this stuff for first, and then the consoles will get onto them when their next cycle comes, which is 10 years from now.
Or everything's developed on PCs initially, so it ought to be pretty good there. So I don't know. Yeah, it's kind of getting into dicey territory when you like have a hardware locked thing.
I still like consoles though. Like I have to say, it's just that I haven't found the need to purchase one yet.
Yeah, the only one I got is that Wii U.
I don't count that as the next gen. I count that as kind of like between
weird
what
offshoot.
Nintendo's going to
like,
do next if they don't go bankrupt and the Wii.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. I had it on today because I was charging my Pro controller, but I haven't really played a game on it since NES Remix, which wasn't that long ago. But and I guess Game & Wario art mode or whatever, that weird thing. But yeah, it's just, do you want wonky Nintendo stuff? I do, but it's hard for me to make a case to like anybody anywhere to be like, no, you need to have this. It's like, unless you care about Mario and Zelda, there as of right now is kind of no reason. So move along. Like it's okay. But I guess I would also kind of say that of the other consoles. Like, I mean, Killzone, like that's an exclusive thing. Infamous, I don't care much about, but that's kind of one people are jonesing for a little bit on the PlayStation 4.
I really liked Infamous 1, but after I finished it, I was done. So
yeah, I have Infamous 2 like installed on my PS3 and just have never booted it up. Like it's just that world isn't. I don't know. I kind of got my superpower open world fix already with Saints Row 4, so I'm good for a little while again. I'm not sure what I'm waiting for exactly. It's just probably not going to happen unless a really, really compelling reason. And actually, no, it's actually probably going to work out where they will announce like the next Uncharted or something, and I'll just kind of be annoyed. I'll just be like, you fuckers, you could release this on a PC. You're just being assholes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, buy your special machine. It's like, no, I don't want it. So I'm just going to leave, and hopefully everyone will do it too, to the point where you'll be hurting so bad that you have to port it.
You know what? It doesn't even matter because the new Tomb Raider's the better Uncharted anyway.
Oh, calling Naughty Dog out. What about that Last of Us, though, son? You ever finish that one?
No, I do want to get back into it, though, honestly.
Yeah, that was like one of the dozen best games of last year. Maybe. It was all right.
It was in the dirty dozen?
It was one of my honorable mentions. It didn't quite crack the... I don't know. There's DLC coming out real soon. Like, it might be out.
What's that, sorry?
There's DLC for that game coming out really soon. And I guess I should be more excited than I am, but...
Zombies, motherfucker!
Yeah, there are zombies. And... I just don't know. I didn't get emotionally involved in that game the way people talked about it. Like, I don't know. I find the way people talk about emotional engagement with games weirdly just does not make sense to my brain a lot of the times. Like, it's just like, oh, you were just watching a movie at that part. Like, that's not a video. That's not the thing you're describing. Doesn't actually qualify. So,
what have you had an emotional attachment to ever then?
Far Cry 2. Like, honestly,
really?
Like,
okay,
because they have the buddy system in that game.
Oh, okay. So it actually matters when they're gone.
Yeah, like it's a mechanic, but at the same time, it's a mechanic you're actually engaging with. So it's just like one of my buddies died coming to save me, and I was like, "Oh no!" Like I kept his gun in my safe house because I was like, "I'm gonna kill the jackal with this pistol." You know, I'm gonna shove this pistol down his throat, the motherfucker, kill my friend.
You sound like a crazy person.
Exactly.
Right now.
And it was not a good gun. And the way that game actually pans out, you can't do that. But I was like, I kept this token from this like friendship I forged with this AI. And yeah, it was weird, but that game was cool. It actually used its mechanics to build up like some sort of dynamic between you and the game. And other than that, like Metal Gear Solid 2 had a moment where like I killed a guard and felt weird about it because like they were unconscious. So it was like I used the mechanics of the game in a way that made me feel like a serial killer. So I actually felt gross. Whereas
the
like
end of Metal Gear Solid 3, that's pretty good.
I would say that falls into that category I'm talking about though, where that is just a movie. So
yeah, sure it is.
Yeah, you can
but
give
it's still
it credit.
part of the video game.
I don't know. Like the only part of the video game where you're actually like interacting with Eva and stuff and the boss is when you're either fighting them or like that protection part.
Right, but it's part of the video game because it's not in a movie. Like it's a movie in the video game. So like
no, but I mean, whenever a game kind of has a hard barrier between cutscene reality and the stuff you're actually able to do, I get a little pushed away from it emotionally anyway. Like it's like,
that's
you know,
a bad idea if you're going to be playing video games.
Well, yeah,
because you're just not going to enjoy a lot of stuff.
I know. I'll get irritated with a lot of things. For example, in Skyrim, there's like the characters you can talk to and then you can't kill them. You know, like, it's just like you like where you're kind of like, all right, like I'm playing both sides or whatever in this rebellion, whatever. I hate this dude. I'm going to kill this dude. I'm a super powerful wizard, whatever. You can only ever knock him out. Like that's a kind of an annoying thing to me. Like, it's just like, you should have thought about that. Or like in Deus Ex, it happened like the last time I played it, Human Revolution. It was like, there's this kind of boss character who's like literally the head of this organization. He's just a total scumbag. That guy sucks.
Yeah, so like I'm in your office right now. I'm going to plop you between the eyes right now.
Right. Like it's one of those things where it's just like the actual like feedback the game is giving me is this guy is an asshole who's controlling you. And meanwhile, you're this badass. Like you're this androided up super dude. You should just kill that fucker. And I'm just like, all right. So you can't. And that was just like, all right, this sucks. Then I went out to get missions and there was this kind of cop guy who gave me a bunch of missions. And I was like, well, does this even work? And then I did kill him. And I was like, all right, that's kind of cool. But now I've also kind of fucked over this whole quest line. So then I just quit. But I at least appreciate they let me actually kill an NPC of some importance, but they don't let me kill the NPC. And that's kind of the way like GTA 5 feathered the line a little bit. Cause like, there's another asshole corporate dude who you just hate. But the way they kind of make it work is you only ever see that guy during cutscenes for most of the game, and he's just annoying you. And then there's finally payoff where you do kill that guy. Spoilers. There's a guy who gets killed in Grand Theft Auto, and I felt good about it. And yeah, like it's like, okay, good. Red Dead kind of did the same thing. Like there's this annoying dude who keeps like fucking with John Marston's life over the course of that whole game. And then finally you get to actually deal with it with the mechanics. And it's kind of satisfying because it's like, now this opportunity is available to me and I'm going to use the game's mechanics to actually do what I want to do. And it works out and it's kind of great. So yeah, I mean, it's, you know, kind of just the violent gun shooting stuff that a lot of video games do. But if that's what your game's about, you should kind of make your emotional moments play to that as opposed to just something happens in a cutscene or whatever. Like that just feels cheap. Like it's just like, let me pull the trigger. Like, why am I sitting here then? Like, why am I playing this game if you're gonna act like a movie while I'm here? Like I can get that elsewhere. I could go watch Ghost in the Shell and I will because it's good. But whatever, you know, the tangents.
Just for the record, you actually do kill the boss. And then that's why that cutscene plays. So,
but actually, that annoyed me the last time I played it because there's kind of a good moment where they give you an opportunity to pull the trigger in a very dramatic fashion. Mm-hmm. But if you don't, it will just do it anyway. Which
really?
Yeah, that kind of sucks, right? Whereas I was kind of like, I'm just gonna sit on this moment for a while, just kind of have it as this weird portrait of this cool thing. And for some reason, the game's just like, no, we're done. Boom. Like, if you wait a minute, it just does it. And I was just like, damn it.
Yeah, that's weird.
that's kind of shitty.
That's kind of why it sucks to replay a video game.
Yeah, you'll accidentally find the things like the wrinkles in it, and you're just kind of like, oh, that was just smoke. That was all fake. That wasn't real. Yeah, but I don't know. Honestly, that's kind of hey, segues. 999.
Mm-hmm.
That game actually actively encourages you to replay it and look through every nook and cranny. And I mean, mechanically, it is pretty much just a choose your own adventure book. So it's not exactly what I'm talking about of like making me feel in charge of the mechanics or whatever. Like it's all kind of very scripted, but it still seems like to me a kind of cool application of like adventure game design in a way that plays to what I'm into as a game playing person. Whereas like Walking Dead, for me, like the thing that killed that game was I was so into that game, I wanted to kind of go back. And if you go back...
And then you realize it's the same outcome no matter what you do.
Yeah, you peer behind that curtain almost immediately, and the magic just evaporates. And that's why there's like 90 minutes of me going, oh, this game! As opposed to... this.
You play it 3 times, right?
I know, and that game doesn't want you to do that. But I wanted to because I liked it. So it kind of like played against itself in this weird way. Whereas 999 hopefully is compelling enough for you to want to go back again. I found it to be. And then actually gives you reasons to do that. And then that actually plays into the story. And that actually, like, they basically kicked off a franchise with that game because it was kind of a surprise success. So Zero Escape, there's a sequel already, and I'm playing that now. And they even go further down that path. There's even more endings and even more stuff to see. And I don't know. I like...
Weren't you saying, like, voice acting is bad and might be a deal breaker or something?
So, yeah, like... The thing with 999 is all just text, right? So I got really used to just kind of curling up with that game as basically just a book at the end of the night. Like just kind of like, all right, yeah, let's read this kind of weird manga. And then I kind of have some options here, and that's kind of cool. And then, yeah, really quickly in Virtue's Last Reward, there's like just tons of voice acting. And that totally set off some defense mechanisms. Like, oh no, it's like Final Fantasy X all over again. Like, this is all bad. But, Tessa on Twitter was like, whoa, it's okay. Just keep playing. I really like that game. So, don't worry. It works out. Mm-hmm. And I kept playing it. And yeah, like there are still maybe a character or two where I'm not entirely into the performance, but overall it's decent. Like it's not that bad. It's kind of, it has kind of changed the, tone of it a bit though. Like where now it's like kind of watching this weird cartoon or something as opposed to reading a book. Like I still would prefer to have the option to turn off that, but they don't let you. They basically let you choose Japanese voice acting or English voice acting. But in the sound options, there's no way to kind of just do away with voice acting completely. But, on occasion, like they actually have kind of, honestly, there's a lot of comparisons to Saw type stuff and how the framework is. So the creepy video message of the thing telling you about the game, like that performance is actually kind of great. Like it's super kind of annoying, but it's supposed to be because it's like this weird animated rabbit who's an AI program that's kind of taunting you about all this like life and death choices and all this stuff. And they just go for weird stuff, like the weird accents that'll just throw in there, bad rabbit puns and whatever. Like it's kind of a good annoying character to have in the game. Like it actually fits okay. And the voice performance kind of helps that. So, because it's the antagonist. So you're supposed to kind of be annoyed with it. Like, oh, fuck that guy. So it's good. It actually is working out. But, yeah.
Glad to hear it.
That series is kind of cool. I'm glad a new franchise has emerged that is willing to do weird stuff. And also, does the adventure game thing, but, kind of encourages you to play it obsessively like I like to do. So, good job. They found a niche.
Is it bad that I just don't want to play adventure games anymore?
How into them were you ever? Like, what's your...
I liked, like, should we count, like, Maniac Mansion and Day of the Tentacle and that sort of stuff?
Yeah, absolutely.
Or, like, newer stuff?
That's kind of my bread and butter. No, that's, like, the foundations in my interest in the genre, so...
Okay, so grew up liking it, then falling off, then now with the resurgence of a lot of other stuff coming out, specifically with Telltale stuff,
Yeah.
I could not care less about them at all. The point and click and like using items in weird ways, and I don't know. I just don't care at all.
What is it about it? Is just you don't like consuming stories that way, or you find them mechanically really shallow? Because they are. Like,
they're very mechanically shallow. They're just time consuming with little payoff unless you're really into like the writers or humor. And I have found that I haven't been on that same level with a lot of the adventure games coming out these days at all.
Like, did you play Grim Fandango and stuff or Full Throttle?
I didn't. No, I never did play Grim Fandango.
Okay. Just like that stuff specifically, I played like all those Tim Schafer games like as they came along kind of, and Day of the Tentacle was kind of a big early one for me that I was like, this is amazing, this is great. Like
Day of the Tentacle is still one of the best adventure games that will ever be made, probably. I love that game.
I really like it. It's just a fun comic sci-fi story that, you know, like the switching between three protagonists and like the way the timeline stuff, like I thought that was just a fun story.
And tentacles.
And tentacles, sure. They're good. There's Star Wars jokes in there. Tentacles are fine. I don't like. Oh, you're saying. All right. So Octodad might have something.
Oh God, no. No.
I'll talk about Octodad in a minute. Then.
Have you been playing it?
I played a bit of it yesterday. Yeah.
You bought it?
No, John's Steam sharing thing.
Wait, he bought it?
Yeah, dude. Okay, that totally makes sense as a game for him to have because that game is made for live streaming. Like. Okay. It's not very fun to play. I bet it's a lot of fun to watch someone fuck up a lot. You know? So
okay.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird thing where it's like you should totally watch a live stream / let's play of Octodad. It's like that's a weird thing to endorse. Like, should I buy the game? Probably not. It's not very good in some ways, but it's certainly wacky and in that kind of surgeon simulator way, but like better. I've already had more fun with it than I did with that game. So it has.
I don't know if you're supposed to have fun with Surgeon Simulator or if you're just kind of supposed to not hate it up until the point you do and then never play it again.
Yeah. It's kind of a one joke pony, like whatever. It has a thing it does, and that's.
Why do they give you the left hand?
I don't know. It just fuck around, like just to make a mess. Them. It's a big mess. It's like Viscera in reverse. You make the mess and then just go, I broke his ribs and put the thing. I don't know.
Actually, a Viscera cleanup detail Surgeon Simulator edition would probably be hilarious.
Like, it's just you're going through the surgery room and like trying to clean up this horrible thing.
And you're just trying to think of like why there would be a heart in the ceiling fan. Like, why there's
like, the physics broke and it just spazzed out. And you're just like, yeah, that's what happened.
Oh, man. A game where the physics break to clean up for the game that the physics break to make the mess.
God, well, there's enough physics breaking in Viscera where it's just like,
exactly.
That organ kind of just spasmed across the floor and now there's blood everywhere. Great. I almost had this done. But yeah. Punch cards, man. I didn't know that was a thing. I have to play it again someday. Ugh. But anyway, okay. Tentacles, Octodad, Day of the Tentacle, adventure games. You probably shouldn't play Broken Age. That's kind of just where I was going.
I am not going to.
It's good. I like it. But as a kind of bookend or whatever, like as an additional thing in that line of games, like it is only if you have a bunch of affection for like Grim Fandango, Full Throttle, like that brand of stuff, will you probably be too like enthralled enough to get into Broken Age. Maybe. Like there's some structural stuff with Shay's storyline that's actually just kind of cool, but you are very much, it's like a very passive experience of just you're sitting down and basically just having a narrative happen for you, and occasionally you have to solve a puzzle or something. But
see, I think this is the problem with me lately.
Yeah.
I found that I've been drawn far away from narrative experiences in video games and more towards mechanics. Like, I'm going to play this game and I don't really care about what the backstory is. It just has to play well for me.
Yeah. I've kind of been having this thought process of like, to me, creating a set of systems and mechanics that generates a narrative for the player as they play it is the ultimate realization of video game writing. Because
right. For sure.
it's like so like it's kind of the author like diminishing their presence in the experience as much as possible in a way, but at the same time it's like they crafted the whole thing. So the whole world that you are playing with is their, they authored it, they wrote it for you essentially, but actual literal text on the screen or voice acting happening or all that stuff, that's kind of better experienced in other mediums. So I don't know why everyone's kind of looking for this weird way of combining everything, because that's usually not what I'm looking for. Like, I like on occasion though, like that's totally contradicted by 999 in a way, because that's just a book. But I almost look at it as this is an evolved book. This is not what I'm saying when I say I want to play a video game in a way. Like this is very different than what I would look at as kind of like, this is what I want. Like this is video games in the purest form, pure sense. This is what I want. Whereas like, yeah, like Telltale stuff, they seem more interested in like, these are basically movies. Like I played Wolf Among Us episode 2 this week. It's basically like a TV show. It's just you watch an episode of this weird serial killer kind of show, and it's okay. Like it's pretty good at
I think
doing
I
that.
might go through that second chapter. Sean was recommending it. So.
It's fine. Like it's like you kind of just have to have the right expectations. Like this is barely an interactive thing. This is kind of just a really weird show that probably wouldn't have been produced by a network, maybe because it's a little weirder than some things, but it totally could have, I guess. Like there's weird fantasy shows. Like Once, isn't that a thing people are into? Isn't that a show?
Once
Lost
Upon
Girl.
a Time.
Like there's shows out there that have fantasy elements very much in contemporary settings and all that.
Right.
So this is a way of doing that, but it's a little more dynamic.
But I still think that's fine. But when you say the word video game, I'm thinking my Dotas or my Spelunkies or Hearthstone, stuff where it's like very just set mechanics, and I am playing with it like a child will play with a ball.
Yeah,
that alone, it's nothing. But with my
if
input,
you're not
it's a
doing
game.
Something, nothing's happening, pretty much, right?
Right,
like, it's
exactly.
Just like, unless I am making the character walk and jump and move around in this space, there isn't a thing. So the way a lot of games kind of trivialize the player's input, and that's not what I want most of the time.
That's a problem.
It's kind of a problem most of the time. I
will say I'm hypocritical because every time a Metal Gear game comes out, I need to see that somewhat interactive movie.
Yeah, I 4 really didn't pop for me in a way. I've been thinking about seeing it again, like kind of revisiting it, but and
it's weird because 4 is like if you're talking game mechanics, it's the best one because it gives you options to move around and stuff like that. But like,
I guess, but it also felt like it was shuffling me down its path more. Whereas like 3 had open areas where you could kind of go back or like find weird things along the way. And like, and also just like kind of badly implemented maybe by some people's perspectives, I guess. Like other systems, like the camouflage thing and like the healing yourself. Like I actually liked having other things to manage. Like it's like, I got a bullet in my leg. I'm going to take this fork and then pry it out.
Yeah.
And put a bandage on it, and somehow that works out.
Yeah, you put a bandage on it, and then since you lost a lot of stamina or something because of it, or health, I'm going to eat this snake that I just killed, and then put on this camo so this dude doesn't see me.
Yeah, and it,
that's
camo
great.
Has like a Japanese flag on his face, and that's stupid, but I want that.
But like in 4, the automatic, like you become whatever you're a part of, very cool looking, not as fun to play.
And honestly, like I think I've said it before, though, like the way, like some of the reasons I forgive Metal Gear for doing some of the stuff I really don't like with the cutscene stuff and whatever is because they give you weird control over the camera during the cutscenes. And
yeah, they do.
Yeah,
you can zoom in on people's faces.
And I am one of those guys who is never not doing that. Like it's cutscene time to like pan over into this corner or zoom around, and I'm still kind of digesting some of the dialogue and stuff that's happening, but I am the cameraman, and that's enough of an interactive thing for me to kind of get that out of my system as I'm sitting there for like 30 minutes or whatever watching this thing happen. And also like the dumb camo you chose is the stuff Snake has in that cutscene. That's also
which is great. I am wearing a red thing with the Soviet hammer and sickle on it.
on
Even
his
though-
face. Yeah.
Even though I'm fighting the Soviets right now. Like,
Yeah,
why not?
or like weird, like extra camo outfits you could be wearing, and just how strange that is in the cutscene. Like it gives you enough of a director role in some of the stuff you're seeing in a film type way.
That
I'm
always
still okay
reminds
with.
me of Mass Effect when you're like wearing this huge helmet and you're somehow drinking a drink at
Yeah.
a bar or something. Yeah.
Whereas, yeah, I want cool helmets because I like helmets, but that game never did the thing properly where you take it off when you speak or do stuff that would require a mouth.
A mouth, right.
Yeah, it's really I don't know. Kingdoms of Amalur actually addressed that, so I was like impressed with that because like I would have a helmet for my battles, and then whenever it's cutscene time, there's just kind of a reverse shot, and it would return to my guy, and he has put his helmet away.
You just reminded me I actually own that game, so I'm going to get it ready for install when we're done here.
Yeah, it's all right. Like I kind of burned out on it pretty quickly. It was like a dozen hours or something, and then I was like, I'm okay for now. But it does some things okay. Like there's some qualities in there for sure. But yeah, honestly, just give me some sort of interactive thing at all times, or else I will be like annoyance will start to build up because I could have started watching a movie. Like I could have done that, but instead I elected to play a video game. So I should be playing a video game. Like that was actually one of the things that I'm like curious about in Transistor, because there were cutscenes and stuff in the demo I was playing. But if I was perceiving it correctly, there are little things you can be doing. Like there's one where it's like silhouette, she's driving a motorcycle, and I was pressing a button and it was actually moving the motorcycle on the screen. So it's like a pseudo interactive cutscene, which is just enough, I think, for them to be like, okay, I will deal with your cutscene because I actually get to do a thing. So thank you for giving me a thing to do. Like, I hope they're being mindful of that, and that wasn't just a one thing, or like that bike moved that way and I wasn't actually doing anything or something. Like, it seemed interactive, and I hope it is. But yeah, there you go.
Not expecting anything, though.
I don't know. I'm a little curious about it. I'm not as big on Bastion as most people, but they do the thing where it's like you are constantly playing and the story is being told to you as you're playing. So they don't do the cutscene sin I'm talking about. But I just felt the weird third person narration and stuff. Like I just kind of didn't care about that world. Like it was weird. It was like having everything in past tense while you're doing things just made it seem like this is already over. Like I don't know. Like I just did not get caught up in it at all. Like it was just a dungeon crawler thing with decent mechanics that I fought through once and felt no compulsion to ever play again. So I did not have the experience people talk about. But yeah.
Right. That game is beautiful looking, though. I really like the art style of it. And the music. I really like the music in Bastion.
I haven't listened to the music much outside of it, but people... really
Maybe
like
more so than the game?
That happens a lot.
Stuff?
Like Shatter, that music's better than that video game, but that's okay.
Well, because that game is that ballistic game that you would play on your cell phone sort of thing with the old phones. But
yeah, speaking of weird cell phone games...
Okay.
I kind of want to get into this, like, you know, this thing that has happened that has been kind of causing a lot of head scratching in the game industry. And I'm kind of two minds on it. Okay, there's this game called Flappy Bird. It's a video game.
Yeah, there is. You're right.
Yeah. Hey, James, you've been playing some of that Flappy Bird? You've been checking that
out? I've played it once.
Okay.
And that was because it was on a friend's phone, and I instantly regretted it.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't know if I'd get that hateful about that game in a way. It's like whatever. It somehow has become this giant sensation. 50 million downloads, $50,000 in ad revenue generated every day. It's huge. And it's essentially just you are you're a little bird who's really bad at flying, and you fly between pipes, and that's the whole game. And high scores, I guess, that's kind of the thing, is, you know, trying to chase that high score, get a better score than your friends or whatever. Like, that's the only hook this game has. But somehow that has kind of worked out for a lot of people. And those, like, I think there are good lessons to learn for, like, mobile gaming in this game. And like, here they are, I guess. It's free. There's no microtransaction bullshit ever at all. It never bothers you about that stuff. Another thing, like, this has been a thing with even games I like do this, where they nag you after a while. It's just like, hey, why don't you come back? Why don't you come back and play the game some more? And you're just like, I finished, you scurvy scalawags. I'm okay. Like, stop yelling. Tower. Yeah, like, they do that. Yeah, exactly. Like, they just kind of poke you a little bit and be like, hey, why don't you play some more? This game doesn't do that. It also as does not say, hey, if you like this, give it 5 stars, which is another little annoying thing. I hate that. That's an annoying thing apps do, where it's just like, no, I don't. Yes, you're a fine IMDb app, I guess. Why would I give it 5 stars? I don't care enough about it. It's just a website. Like, what? Like, it's just weird. So the game does not do any of those things. It is exactly what it is. It's just a one button fly through the pipes, and that's it. Yes, the pipes are basically ripped out of Mario Brothers, which is kind of weird. They look basically exactly like them. The controls, like, really kind of bad, like, just not tuned at all. But that's kind of what makes it work in a way. Like, the developer, he's this dude in Vietnam. It is like, he started developing games last year, has put out 3 free games, and this was the second one, I guess, and it blew up. It caught fire, went huge. And yeah, he is very clearly, like, learning how to make games. Like, he has not figured this out yet. The sound design is really repetitive and all this stuff, but somehow, lightning in a bottle, it just worked out. And I don't know, like, it's kind of this thing where it's like, that huge success that just came out of literally nowhere, it kind of trivializes, like, a lot of big game industry stuff. Like, it's just like, what's the point of, like, IGN or, like, anyone covering games at all if, like, they don't really have control over what blows up, right? Like, it's just like, who cares? Like, no one actually cares. They will just care about what they care about. And in this case, it is this free game. I don't know. Like, it's kind of this thing where it's just like, no one person is the source for information anymore. It is just
except for PewDiePie.
Exactly. Actually, yeah. Like, his channel has a video about it, and I think that was a big flare point for this game, right? Like, that would have gotten it to a lot of people.
He is actually the reason why games go big.
He has a lot of power right now. You're not wrong.
It's disgusting. It's really gross.
Well, because it's honestly just like, get enough millions of people to start talking about whatever it is.
No, the reason why it's gross is that it's not me. That's why.
Yeah. I don't know. It's kind of this thing where I don't know. Like, and he is getting paid to do what he does, right? Effectively, but just by video views. So it's kind of this, like, democratic system of, in a way.
Dude, when you have like 23 million people able to see your stuff, then you're getting paid.
Oh, I know, but you're getting paid by just having attention, like, commanding attention, right? Like, in theory, he could fail to do that at some point, and people would find something new.
No, and by people saying, hey, will you play my game? If you like it and do a video on it, we'll give you money.
Yeah, that's gross.
But how's that any different than, commercials or anything like that, though?
It isn't at all. His channel is a TV show, and
it's like
people
an
can choose
show.
People can choose to pay him, and he can choose whether or not he wants to accept it.
This kind of became a bit of a topic like a week or two ago with Conan O'Brien's Clueless Gamer stuff, of like, the word review is in the title of that show. So the fact that they're accepting payment to showcase games got a lot of people kind of upset, right? Like, it's just like, that's gross. Like, this is exactly what we're talking about. But then they're like, it's a comedy sketch. This is comedy. It's entertainment. We're not actually trying to say this is, this should actually inform your purchasing decision. But that's the thing. Like, just by showing off a thing, you're kind of just doing that. So,
well, and like, is it gross? Because, like, you and I like Deadly Premonition, right?
Yeah.
So say the Game Dudes all of a sudden has 20 million people why would we say, no, Kamiya, or however you say his name, you cannot pay us money to play this game we already love?
Well, because it might actually change our relationship with the game. Like, I
How so?
honestly...
If we already like it.
Well, if we already like it, then it would be, like, I would... it's like, well, they paid me for me to say I like it, but I liked it anyway. So now it's like people will perceive it as I'm only saying this because I'm supposed to. Like, you lose credibility. Like, it's always credibility, right? Like, that's the thing. Like, if you actually want credibility, you wouldn't aspire to be that kind of person.
Well, what if you sit there and you make video upon video saying how much you love the game and going into all the details why, and then suddenly someone starts paying you for it, and your fan base would know that your opinion on the game hasn't changed, but now you're just making money because of that opinion.
Right, exactly. And
well, like, if you're kind of helping your game,
people
like,
will always call your credibility into question because that's the internet. That's just
once
what
you get
it's
big
made
enough,
for.
is kind of the thing, right? It's like,
well, I mean, with anything, right? I mean, I'm questioning the credibility of a lot of people that I've been following for years on Giant Bomb. That still doesn't mean I won't listen to their opinion. I just wonder about how honest some of it is. And quite frankly, at this point for them specifically, I don't care because reviews are whatever.
I think that's ultimately what I'm coming down to, as like, I don't look for reviews anymore as like the thing. Like, it's like, what score did this get? It's just like, I don't even check anymore.
If we're talking about him specifically, he doesn't do reviews. He just plays the game.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know. It's weird territory. I don't even know how we got into this. It doesn't really matter. We've had this discussion so many times before.
Well, it's kind of just a wind change thing that's going on right now, where like I am more and more starting to question, like, why is literally anyone anywhere being paid to do game reviews? Like, that just seems like, is there even a need for it?
It honestly sounds like those people are basically not getting paid anymore. A lot of places are going down, which is why a bunch of places had to grab a bunch of people from other sites and make Polygon say.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like you have stuff coming out now that is like a consolidation of people that people had grown up with or know about making one site. And then you're going there for their personalities and their opinions specifically, not for a review.
Or longer form kind of discussion of stuff. Or like a big video of just, here's like a bunch of this game's, this is how it looks and plays. What do you think? And that's kind of enough. Like, that's more than enough information now, where it's like, yeah, I don't really turn to like a specific review. In fact, I kind of like get annoyed with some of them because it's just like, I don't, whatever. Like, I don't, like, maybe I'll play it and then be like, this is not worthy of like the unrestrained praise this has gotten. Like, this is kind of weird to put your thoughts, like, distill them down to 5 stars, great. And you're just like, really? Like, what about this part or this part or this part? And then they can acknowledge all of those faults, but that doesn't affect the score at all. Like, that just seems kind of like, well, what's the point of the score then? Like, why'd you put a score on this?
Kind of. Why? And then, like, if you're talking about that, it gets weird because the real way they should be reviewing, if that is a factor, is it should just be a let's play of the whole game, and then you can see what the problems are, but then why would you play it? Because you've already watched someone else do it.
Well, in a lot of cases, yeah. Like, with the games that kind of produce the repeatable thing, like, Spelunky, for example, any of the roguelike stuff of late, it's like, well,
for sure, yeah.
When I play it, it'll be different. But I know now, like, the full suite of stuff that'll happen. So, like, there's a lot of Spelunky streams going on right now. Like, just daily streams of just, like, I'm going to play the daily challenge. You're just like, okay. And, like,
speaking of which,
yeah,
I've been playing a lot of Risk of Rain.
Okay. Yeah. Like, we've started doing, like, I haven't done one in a while, but you guys are playing that every day. And
yeah,
that
and
makes
I mean,
sense. It's maybe less dynamic than I thought it would be. In terms of like placement of stuff, it almost seems like
the levels are all the same. Like, it's not dynamic at all. They're not randomly generated. It's the same layout for the levels. What's random is maybe what enemy appears where,
or the placement of the spawn, like, or the warp or whatever.
Yep, that's it.
Okay,
so not very dynamic at all. But I don't know. It's still one of those things that. It's like a routine now. I know I'm going to be playing with a friend at this time for a little bit, and we'll have fun, and then that's it. and that's kind of nice. But yeah, I don't know. We finally beat that game on the hardest difficulty last night.
Oh, you actually did?
We did monsoon difficulty and ha difficulty in it.
Okay.
When we finished, it was the hardest difficulty.
Are you going to keep rolling then, or is it like we kind of beat it?
And now we're going to go through and find some stuff we haven't seen before and like items and whatnot. So we'll still go through it. But yeah, we finished it off last night. And now it's kind of empty feeling. It's like, well, we did the challenge. We did the hardest thing you can do in that game. Now what? Do we just do it over and over? And like maybe? But I think I'm still okay with that. What do you think of Risk of Rain? I don't really know your final opinion on it.
Well, I mean, I haven't played as much of it as you, so it might not be as kind of fleshed out or whatever, but I find it generally kind of fun. I also find it like mechanically kind of just
boring.
Simple. Yeah, it's just
you can say boring. I agree.
I'm just like jumping around hitting all these shoot buttons. Like that's mostly what I do. And like the enemy AI, they just kind of swarm you, like all of them. Like they do different things sort of, but they're all just generally kind of, running at you, and that's all they do. And I don't know.
You've also played primarily one character though.
One character. Well, I've played 3 different ones, but
right. I mean, you've played character. Okay, so the Enforcer was the real character or class or whatever that plays completely different. What did you feel about your time with him? I know you found it interesting, but maybe
that was a little more mechanically kind of cool, I guess. But it was also kind of like ultimately, it's just I have a short range weapon now, and I can hit. But you're still just pressing shoot at all the stuff, and that's fine. It's just the kind of general thing of what you're doing is look for the warp, hit the button. And like the difficulty kind of going up as time goes is kind of a neat thing. But I don't know. I just don't find it as rewarding maybe as you guys were, or I don't know. Like I find
it actually more rewarding single player because that's how you unlock stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
But it's not as fun single player, so there's that trade-off.
Yeah, I don't know. I definitely feel like it's solid, like it's decent, but it's not stoking any fires of obsession or anything. Like unlocking power-ups and all that, like it just seems kind of like such a dice roll. Like it's just like, well, I got garbage this time. Like whatever. Like I don't feel like too bad about it when I die. Like I don't have those like controller flip like like moments like I do in Spelunky where it's just like that was entirely because I was an idiot. Like I just jumped weird and fell on those spikes. Like every death in Risk of Rain just feels like, well, like the game just keeps getting harder the more I play it. So that was going to happen.
And it's similar to Binding of Isaac, where it's like, well, I didn't get any items to boost this, so I'm probably just going to lose.
Yeah, it's like I got crappy items. Like that's just on the game, Like unless kind of like that's kind of thing where it's like I like the Enforcer in theory, but I also think it isn't balanced very well. Like it's like there's nothing I can do in this circumstance unless I have someone else kind of bolstering me in a way, like where it's just like
those jellyfish can fuck you up as an enforcer.
Like really quickly. So it's just kind of like, well, even though I'm doing kind of more mechanically cool things of like alternating between different stances with the shield and all this, like I can still just get totally destroyed really, really quickly. And I don't necessarily feel like it is entirely my fault. I feel it's just kind of like there's not much I had very few options there. And I guess I'll just say like some of the jumps are really bad. Like it's just like
they're really
shitty. barely make this vine climbing thing. And it's just kind of like that's kind of crappy. Like it just kind of
there are some ledges in some of those levels that you literally just can't get what's up there unless you have the jetpack. All.
So that's
shitty.
Kind of lame. So I don't know. I like things about it, but it's kind of it isn't my new jam exactly. Like I don't know. I've been generally having a pretty good time with a lot of video games I've been playing lately. Like just kind of like it's pretty nice. That's a pleasant experience. Like Ollie Ollie's pretty good. This is pretty fun. It's just easy to go back to. Like Lumines, I'm still having fun with. But there hasn't been anything where I'm just like, yeah, this is the thing. Like, I'm just totally caught up in this. Like, I can't get enough. Like, I just want to see all of it. Like, that just hasn't happened.
In a
I don't
while
know.
for me.
I mean, maybe Tomb Raider, but it's short. So it was like, at some point, I was at that level of just like, yeah, let's go back, let's play some more. And it was like, all right, it's 12 hours, you're done, it's over. And just like, okay.
I actually have to finish Tomb Raider.
Oh, okay.
I'm at the last part of it. I just haven't done it.
Is that game worth buying?
Yeah, actually, it's really good.
I mean, I only paid like $12.50 for it, and I feel
exactly
good about that.
I spent 20, I think.
Yeah.
But that was the thing I was waiting for. I was planning on waiting for it to go on sale, maybe on PlayStation Network or something like that, and picking it up then. Because as much as I wanted to like Uncharted, it got really gun happy for my taste.
Yeah. This has a lot of combat in it too, but like I felt how quickly
it's Resident Evil 4.
And it has extremely fast weapon switching. Like, so I pretty much never died in a combat scenario. Like, it was just like I felt like I fully had everything I needed to get through stuff. So it's like
all the stuff where you're being thrown around that you die in that game.
Yeah, and there was like maybe one or two instances where I was just kind of like, I don't know, I'm not sure where I'm supposed to jump right now. Like, this is a little weird. Like,
sure, and you jump off a ledge or something.
Or like there was this weird physics puzzle where you're supposed to swing a thing through a door, but I was just like misunderstanding where it wanted me to swing, so I was just kind of like failing for like 20 minutes and like doing weird stuff where it was like it would swing back and then be on top of me. So I'm just like kind of pinned by this giant bell or whatever. And I was just like, this is weird. Like, I don't think this is
that
what
bell part was actually
do.
pretty cool though.
Yeah.
The 3 things you swing.
There were things like once I got it, I was like, okay, but like I felt the messaging was a little weird. Like I didn't feel too bad for not getting it the first time because it was just like, that was kind of strange. Like, it's like I felt I was swinging that thing at the wall, but it didn't break the wall unless I had it at a correct height or something. It was just kind of arbitrary. I was a little...
I do like that, though. I like that it's not just video gaming. Like, if you touch this button, a scene will play out and swing through the door.
Sure. Like, it's a little more involved than just, hit the button, find the thing. Like, or like Uncharted is just like, they're very clear, you were supposed to climb here, this is a climbing surface, and then you just kind of climb through it. And it's all super scripted, like, oh, that rock fell. Nathan Drake almost fell. And it's like, no, he didn't.
And you know how in Uncharted you can pick up like artifacts and treasures along the way as collectibles?
Yeah.
Well, imagine if you could do that in a video game, but you could actually look at it before you put it away.
My God.
I thought that was cool, where you can like actually like inspect the item, the artifact or whatever, and find out more information about it.
And to me, more games need that because I pick up something or I'll sit there and I'll stare at something zoomed in for the longest time, just observing every little detail about it. And if I could just sit there and just look at something and just absorb it, just little stuff like that, I love so much.
Yeah, no, that stuff's really cool. Like, I can't remember what some of the specific items are, but there's like little tablets or like combs or teddy bears or stuff like that you find laying around, and you turn them around, you can zoom in and out, and then if you find something kind of weird like markings on it or whatever, Laura will be like, this is this or whatever, and talk about it a little bit because she's an archaeologist or whatever.
And it seems like some of them link together a bit. Like, you'll find a bunch of stuff from the same dynasty or something, so it's almost like a weird little story is built up by these artifacts.
It's actually quite cool.
Type. Yeah, it's
and
okay.
You could miss all of it if you wanted to.
Actually, yeah. So. That was one of the things where it was like a key, like a piece of information that kind of changed my perception of a character was one of those optional, like, I just found it kind of things. Like, it was like a note one of the characters had written. I was just like, oh, I thought you were just being a total bitch, but you actually had a reason. Okay. I was like, okay, cool. Like, cause there's like characters are just kind of trash talking Laura, and I was not sure why. And then I found this note and I was like, oh, okay, I feel better about that. They at least thought about why this like exchange of dialogue was that snarky. So cool. But yeah, that game's all right. I don't know.
I think the problem now is that with like the Game of the Year edition and definitive edition and stuff, it might go back up in price a little bit. I don't know.
Maybe.
What do you think, Nathan?
I mean, if they
might be a PlayStation Plus free thing eventually. So,
I mean, it has been about a year since, like, that's definitely happened with some games from last year, like Metro Last Light and Brothers and BioShock and all that were PlayStation Plus titles.
I'm gonna say if you can find it for $20 or under, that's still a good pickup, though.
Okay, that might take a little. I'm sure I could find the game by itself for that much. But it's like if I find it for 20, then why not just pay the $5 extra and get the Ultimate Edition, which comes with Quantum Theory.
What?
Wait, what?
Yeah, apparently
Quantum Theory, the video game.
Yeah, the video game.
Because
why would
I'm
they
gonna
bundle
say,
in a bad game?
Yeah, like if they're bundling that in, you're better off paying them $5 to not get Quantum Theory.
Is that
Would you like to download Quantum Theory? No, I do not. Get that as far away from me as you can. I don't know. Let me check because I might be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure that came with the bundle.
Or is it like Quantum Conundrum? Exactly. Like, is it like, that other Quantum game that actually is kind of all right, like inoffensive puzzle thing?
Yeah, like if you like Portal, then Quantum Conundrum's probably something you'd love. So
not love necessarily, but I guess, and be like, yeah, all right, fluffy dimension. That's a thing.
I guess the moral of the story here is that you should pay money to not play Quantum Theory.
Yeah,
because it's quite possibly the one video game that is the most offensive in every way. In that, it wastes your time. So yes.
Oh, so it's kind of like Castle Doctrine then.
Do you want to talk more about Castle Doctrine, or is it out of your system?
Not really. I don't know. I whatever. I haven't played it subsequently. I got an email that was like just kind of about like, hey, just to let you know that's what this charge on your credit card bill was, and I was like, I bought that game. Like it's just like this weird little annoying reminder that I did that and helped fund it.
It would be great if the email you said you got was from Jason Rohrs saying, listen, I worked really hard on this thing. Just like telling you to shut up about it.
Well, it's just like, on what part? Like, not the art style, because there isn't one. Not the soundtrack.
Not the gameplay.
Because, yeah, like, what are you talking? Like, the server architecture to maintain all the players? Maybe, but that doesn't translate to...
Like, I worked really hard to make something that I could sell for a lot of money.
Yeah, and you're just like, okay. Honestly, like, I read the Polygon review of it, and they gave it a 5 out of 10, which I was like, okay, that's a suitably low score. And then I was reading the review, though, and they talked about it on the Bombcast a couple weeks ago, and, like, the way people talk about that game just in no way reflects my experience with it. And also, no one anywhere is talking about how the graphics are terrible. Like, because that's such a low...
Because it probably doesn't matter.
Well, no. It does, though. Like, people, like, that's kind of thing. It's like, oh, that's such childish. That's not video game journalism. That's so, what a lowly observation. That is so surface detail. I hate you so much right now. Like, it's just like that attitude seems to be what I'm getting out of like not bringing up just the visuals.
What was with that voice? Was that
that's
like
the voice Pitchfork reviewers have probably.
Pitchfork reviewers,
yeah. Like that is the level I am getting. Like that is the kind of tone I'm getting off of some of these reviews that only talk about kind of the intent and how messed up the game made them feel. Because, like, oh, man, my family got murdered, and the only thing I can do is murder. And it's just like, this is just bad. Like, this is just a badly conceived idea, because it is a world where only crime exists, so it immediately negates any impact of those actions. So it's really bad. But everyone's just like, no, yeah, whatever. Really, like, oh, man, I felt so disturbed. My family got murdered. And it's like, no, like bad pixels got red. Like, what are you talking about? Like, I don't know. Like the emotions people are having, I don't know how they're being elicited by this game because it is just so simple in its presentation and everything. It's just like, 0% of that was caught up. It was just, this is tedious. Also, it fundamentally makes no sense structurally. I hate it. And then other people are just like, man, I felt good when I was able to put it down and stop playing it because I was so disturbed by this game. It's so disturbing. What a disturbing experience. Like, oh my God. And you're just like, what? Shut up. No. And yeah, like, honestly, that simple observation of the graphics are really bad. They're just really, really bad. I feel like, sort of that's a low hanging fruit or something. Like, that's not a thing we talk about anymore is graphics. Cause we've evolved to the point where we should be able to look over it or whatever, but that significantly impacted my experience. Like, as soon as I clicked that executable and saw how the game moved specifically, I was just like, oh, this is bad. This is so bad. Like, I got conned. This is a con. And the trailer versus what you play, I feel obfuscates how the game looks. Like, it's kind of like not clear from watching the trailer that it is literally a frame by frame, no animations ever happen, grid based thing. I don't know. That bothered me. So there you go. Whatever. It's on my. Oh no, we can't even do the Steam Share thing anymore. So you can't even look at what I'm talking about. Right?
Actually, I got it working with Sean.
Okay, so maybe we can fix that.
I had to redo it because I got a new hard drive, so none of that old information was stored. But yeah, Olympus Has Fallen, the movie. I watched that.
Okay, from the producers of that Hercules movie.
Yeah, you know what that movie is? It's Air Force One and Die Hard mixed together.
That's okay, but in the West.
Yeah, exactly. So Air Force One, in the fact that there's like terrorists or whatever, and they're trying to do the whole, like, we have your president, blah, 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 Korean stuff. You know what I mean? Like, we're trying to bully America into doing something. Yeah. And then Die Hard, in the sense that there is Gerard Butler running around systematically trying to get to the president by killing terrorists along the way.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's that movie.
Like, does it?
Yeah, it's okay.
Cool action scenes.
Yeah, it's fine. It's like, if you like Die Hard, you'll like this. It's basically the same movie, just in the White House. So I don't know. It's okay. Maybe not as quippy as John McClane is. In fact, not at all as quippy. More like angry. But whatever. Aaron Eckhart as president is weird to me, only because of the whole like Two-Face thing.
Oh yeah,
that's just kind of how I see him now. And they'll like, thank you for smoking or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. It's forgettable. Maybe is the best word for it, but fun.
But it kind of successfully stole White House Down's thunder. So
yeah,
because like the White House Down was actually in production first, and then this got like rushed through and came out like 3 months earlier, and then White House Down just made no money. And I haven't seen either, so I can't really say which one's better. But have you?
Well, that one had Tatum, right?
Yeah.
So this one's probably better.
Well, but that's kind of just a subjective thing, because like I could be like,
well, from like
Gerard Butler sucks. Channing Tatum's really funny in 21 Jump Street. Done.
Yeah, but I bet he's not funny in that movie. I just have a feeling that it's the same movie.
But he might be quippy in that way you're saying, right? So less angry, more like, kind of snarky.
Maybe, but isn't he like a Marine in that?
I don't really know.
I don't.
Bodyguard.
It honestly doesn't really matter.
Jamie Foxx from like the president.
Yeah, just from the people who are in it, Olympus Has Fallen seems like the one people would cite as like the film, and the other one's just like the copy,
right?
For some reason, but
because it's
like Dante's Peak and Volcano, for instance.
Yeah, that
Tommy Lee Jones, man.
Deep Impact and Armageddon.
Yep,
that always happens over and over again.
I'm trying to remember some other ones. I guess
super villain animated movies.
Yeah, but
that was a revelation. Like in the past week, Despicable Me 2 almost made like $1 billion. Like people officially like that more than they should, and it just needs to be stated. Like, just
Why do they like
publicly-
it so much?
Slapstick is back, I guess. Like
Okay.
the Three Stooges. I mean, that movie didn't pop, but the Three Stooges, they were ahead of their time, apparently.
So the
hit
people
in the
want the
face.
Stooges, but they don't want.
The actual
people
shit. They don't want the
to act
genuine
like-
article. They want little yellow dudes that do the same shtick and
Ugh.
hit each other, and dumb shit happens. And
That sounds.
I thought
terrible.
that first movie was bad, and I have no interest in seeing the next one. But apparently, I was wrong. I don't know. It was at like 980 million last I checked, and it was like just opening in China, so it might have crossed into billion territory.
Yeah, because we know Chinese people are crazy, so they'll love it.
I mean, I didn't say anything earlier, but when you were talking about like North Korea being the bad guy,
I love how you're like, I didn't say anything earlier, but
but I actually have a thought on China. China should be the bad guy in a bunch of movies, but they're not because they're nervous about losing money, and that's bullshit. Someone needs to make a movie where China's super evil, and that's the antagonist. Like, it's easy.
does it seem too easy to pick on Korea? Because
It's way too easy to pick on North Korea. That's like
They'll never
so
see it.
lame. That is that's lower hanging fruit than me complaining about graphics in video games. Like, that is shit. That's so stupid. It's like everyone thinks they're evil because they're kind of evil. Like, they literally have internment camps and all this. Like, that's easy. Looking at Foxconn and like just China being super creepy and corporate and having that takes at least a little bit of guts or whatever.
And dude, we were in Shanghai in that game. We know how it is.
Yeah, it's messed up over there. There's
It is.
razor blades. It's terrible.
The Prime Minister of Shanghai, man, he's in on it.
I complain about. That's right. Everything is really clean. Even stuff I like has problems. I don't know what's going on with that. It's just that's my head. That's where I'm at right now.
Like.
It's like grumble, grumble, grumble. This was great, but I wish I saw this other version. Anyway.
So, anyways, yeah, totally forgettable.
Okay.
Unlike this conversation, probably. But yeah, there was that, and you brought up Despicable Me.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of Steve Carell, I finished off The Office. So
that's pretty direct. He's in both of those things.
Yeah, but he wasn't in the 2 seasons that I had to finish.
How are those latter seasons? Because I kind of bailed right after he left. I just stopped really. Like, I saw a few episodes and was just like, I don't.
You're
care.
fine. You're fine.
Okay.
Yeah. They're not bad. They're still. I mean, the writing in that show is still really good, all the way to the end. But there is something weird about not having the main reason for that show for like, what was it, like 9 years or something? Like a long time. Just not there anymore. And then instead is this other guy that you don't even like, and he's running the show. So, I don't know. I don't like Ed Helms in that show. I actually don't like Ed Helms in general. But yeah, I don't know. The fact that his character is somehow running the office now and then other shit's going down, like, it just makes it feel like a weird spin-off that I shouldn't care about.
Well, that really felt like, well, The Hangover was popular and we actually have a star of that movie here.
No, that totally was what it was. Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to move him forward. And you're just like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, it should be Jim or somebody. Like, this is weird. And yeah, I don't know. Kind of checked out of that whole thing.
I will say the last 2 episodes of that show, though, are pretty okay. They're almost like a weird retrospective, and shit goes bad for the people that it probably should go bad for, and goes good for the people that you probably like, and then it ends with everybody kind of doing a reunion thing. Like, the last episode's like a year after the documentary's been airing.
Okay.
Because
so they actually tie in the...
They go meta with it. The documentary they've been filming this whole time is, like, in the last 2 seasons, is about to air.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess that's kind of interesting. I don't know.
It's kind of weird, yeah. And it was a weird excuse to have, like, a panel for the show sort of thing. So, like, all of them are on a panel talking about some stuff in the show that maybe people would have had a weird question about or something. And there's like a marriage at the end and all that sort of stuff. I don't know. It all ties together pretty nicely, but in a weird way, it does feel like have you left a job that you've worked at for a long time?
I was kind of, I mean, obviously going through all my LinkedIn lately.
Yeah.
Beefing up that profile. Check me out on LinkedIn. Add me to your network or whatever. If you got some cool jobs, I don't know.
So no.
I was kind of looking. It's like 2 years and 2 months was like the most ever.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Well, it recreated that feeling pretty good. So that's good, I guess. That it felt genuine. And it probably was, because even though The Office wasn't real, all those actors spent that amount of time of their lives working together.
Right.
So, like, that was the last time they would be together on that one thing, right? So it felt genuine. It was pretty good.
That's cool.
Yeah. I've come to realize what I really like about the weird, like, Jim and Pam relationship in that show is how real it kind of is, where there's like this whole period where there's like the flirtation and stuff. Then they become a couple and there's that like honeymoon period. But then as the show gets later in the seasons, they start to have like marital problems and are fighting more and stuff.
Oh,
and,
okay.
I found that to be cool, that they didn't just stick with the whole like, no, this is perfect the whole time, because that would have gotten really boring by the end. It still got boring, but
they at least acknowledged
that there's some shitty issues going on. Yeah. So that was cool. Okay. But overall, that show is done. And I was worried when people were saying Will Ferrell would be in it, because I fucking hate him.
Yeah. But okay.
Other than that, we got someone better. Ed Helms. Yay. So good. Hangover Part 4 coming soon. Probably not, but whatever. Why couldn't they get the good guy from any of the other good guys, I should say, from Hangover? Bradley Cooper would have been fine.
He's kind of a bigger star now than that deserves, right? Like, you know, he's teaming up with David O. Russell, making things happen. So American Hustle, man. Yeah,
American Hustle.
And Zach Galifianakis, I'm actually kind of wondering where that guy is at right now, because I don't really see him in
I could see him being hooked on heroin, like somewhere in a back alley.
Oh, man.
He just has that look to him, you know?
All right. That's kind of been this topic that I'm assuming we were going to bring up this whole time, is heroin is no good. And
it's a hell of a drug. Actually, that's cocaine. But anyways, go on.
It totally killed an actor I thought was really great. So that happened this week. Philip Seymour Hoffman. Yeah,
Philip Seymour Hoffman is dead, so pour one out.
I was just kind of like, what? That came out of nowhere for me. And then it's just like, oh no, dude, he's been struggling with heroin for like the last year. And before that, like 20 years ago. I was like, oh, I didn't know any of this. And it did. There was a moment where it's just like, where was any of like his network of people that like dealt with that problem? Like, how did Charlie Sheen come back from the brink and Philip Seymour Hoffman fell off? Like, that sucks. Not that I'm saying Charlie Sheen should be dead, because that sounds really weird now that I've just
vocalized that thought. Sheen might, like, he had more. He had a very public like
meltdown, and then came back. Whereas like Philip Seymour Hoffman was apparently writhing around in this horrible thing for a long time, and I had no idea. And now it's too late, and it's just like shit. It was just like crappy. And then I was looking through and I was like, man, I've seen like 24 movies with this guy in it. I didn't even. That's crazy, Meowth. You need to check out some films. I'm going to start typing them in the chat here. For Devil Knows You're Dead. That was a really good movie.
Yeah, I was about to say, please list a whole bunch of them, because when I heard he died, I was like, he seems vaguely familiar.
He's a character actor, man, so he kind of blends in. But he was in Magnolia. He was in Boogie Nights. The Master, like basically
Mission Impossible.
Mission Impossible 3. He plays the bad guy.
Yep,
does a good job.
He does a great job. He's great in everything. Capote.
I didn't love that movie, but he does a good job.
No, but he's great.
Actually, honestly though, the first like performance where I was like, this guy is funny, and I just never took note of the actor's name, was in Twister. He plays Dusty, who is just like one of the crew, but he is like the most live wire for me. Like, I was just like, this guy's really funny. And then just kind of years later, he's winning an Oscar on television, and I'm just kind of going through IMDb or something. I was like, oh right, he was like bit role in this movie. And I actually took note of like, that guy was funny. He says loser and holds his hand up to his head in the shape of an L at like Cary Elwes and his crew.
I liked him in Boogie Nights.
Yeah, he's Boogie Nights. Yeah, I'm trying to think of kind of bigger,
Almost Famous.
I mean, he was in
big
Catching
roles?
Fire this past year, which was kind of the big question mark. Was like, oh wait, he was like still filming Mockingjay. What's going to happen? Doubt, I guess. Though, sorry, that just came to mind. That was a good movie. Oh, and Synecdoche, New York, actually was another noteworthy one. That's Charlie Kaufman. His own he directed that movie. It's really broken. Like, it's a weird movie, but that one specifically came to my mind because it's super just weird and tragic. Now, at some point he plays an old man in Synecdoche, New York, and now it's just like this shitty thing of like he will never actually ever be that old. So that is terrible. So
right
there you go. Sad thoughts on things. We should probably bounce out. You brought up heroin though casually, and I don't know, 50 bags of heroin.
Yeah, he did not bring up heroin casually. Way of life.
And yeah, apparently he was like pretty transparent about being an addict and stuff in interviews and whatever. And like, yeah, it's just like, oh, weird. This weird thing happened. What day was that?
That was Sunday.
Oh, okay, Sunday. So it's been
last Sunday, yeah,
shy of a week or whatever. But yeah, that was some news. There's some movie news, the worst kind. What were you talking? Zach Galifianakis back. Hopefully, he's not actually
bring that back. That's not what I said at all. I'm just saying, why couldn't they've gotten any one of the better character actors from that movie? Even though Bradley Cooper is just a good actor in general.
But like Ed Helms was already on that show, so it kind of makes sense to promote him more than
I
like.
guess.
And suddenly, Zach Galifianakis shows up. He's
but
in
does
charge.
it? Will Ferrell just showed up.
Actually, I never saw that episode where like Jim Carrey's in it and all that. Like, I didn't see that season finale. Is that worth seeing?
Okay. No.
Is that okay? Like, they brought out a bunch of superstars. Like, that's not worth checking into. That's just nothing.
Remember when Jim Carrey did the number 23?
Yeah, I did. I saw that in theaters, and I thought it was kind of cool.
Yeah, I didn't mind that movie myself, honestly, but I don't know. That guy has a darkness to him that he never lets out.
He only occasionally does. Yeah, he's a little weird, but okay.
Like, I really don't know where to go with that, but all right.
I kind of wish they took advantage of it better in Kick-Ass 2, but they didn't. And that was kind of a waste. But, okay.
Yeah, he was a Jesus freak that liked to beat the shit out of and kill people.
Yeah, and he had a dog. There you go. Okay, just bringing it back way before them.
Mm-hmm.
Why did they change the theme song in Attack on Titan? Because I was digging it.
All animes do that.
But they had a great one, and then they traded it for not as great one.
What was the other one? I can't even remember.
The first one?
No, the other one that you're talking about that they changed it to, because I don't remember.
It's totally indistinct and does not stick in my brain at all. Whereas the other one had that like Jaeger sense.
Yeah, it was all high energy and such.
Super great. I would I'd be waiting for it every episode, and then we started watching episode 14, and then I was just like, what is this? What is this shit? What? So I don't know. Like, I'm still gonna watch that show, but what are they doing? Why would you take a good thing?
Know. Anime just does that. That's just
that's kind of the thing. Like, Brittany was like, "Oh yeah, every show does that," and I was like, "Not Gynax shows because they're not on long enough." So
right,
all 6 episodes of Fooly Cooly had the same song. What the hell?
Yeah, I was gonna say there's a reason that they don't.
Like, all 13 Pay and Stocking, same songs, and I like those songs.
It would probably cost them more money to produce a new song for a couple episodes than it would for them to just finish off the whole season.
Yeah, but I don't know. This was my first experience, and it was like a cold wake-up call. I was not happy. because like it went from catchy, sweet jams to totally different things that I have not yet gotten used to. Maybe I'll love the new songs eventually, but
Yeah.
the initial thing. Also, it was like this courtroom episode. I'm having this thing where I'm just like, Aaron can turn into a Titan. All this bureaucracy bullshit, like, it should just be like, fuck you, I'll kill you with my Titan powers.
I think it sounds
Shut
like
up,
at the part
Judge.
you're at, though, he doesn't know how to control it yet.
He's extra dangerous then. He's a loose cannon. Just like, hey, everyone in this courtroom, I could murder all of you like nothing. So you might want to stop dicking around, you know? Stop it. I don't know. I'm getting annoyed on his behalf because he's taking it kind of well. He's getting kicked around a lot. And it's just like, I don't know, man. I would just...
And literally, too, right? Doesn't he get kicked?
He literally gets kicked a lot by this dude from the scout squad or whatever. And they have an interesting dynamic. I'm looking forward to seeing how that works out. But here's... Okay. I find out I have Titan powers. I build a big metal neck brace, and I'm the fucking king. And that's it. It's over. I'm the Titan killer. And also, whoever gets in my way. That's what I would do. I'm just saying... Hope that show takes that into account. They build a big neck brace, make him an invincible Titan. It's the only weak spot. It's the only weak spot. Just figure that out. Just, I don't know. It seems obvious. So that's where I'm at. I'm sitting here on my couch yelling at the show as it plays, but still watching it. So
I would love to see this giant Titan with a giant neck brace, like he was just in a bad car accident, or a shyster lawyer is telling him to wear it in court.
Or like a dope helmet or something, like whatever, something to cover up
helmet, yeah.
The one weakness he has, and then it's
a turtleneck, really.
Just
or not even one of those turtlenecks, just like the turtlenecks that you like put under a shirt.
Yeah, I mean, I totally get why the humans wouldn't want to mention that, because why would you want to make an unpredictable X Factor invincible? But you know, on his behalf, like maybe that's what's in his dad's basement. He opens it up and it's just a giant neck brace. And you're just like, fuck yeah, it's on now. Mithril. Whatever. That show's fun. I'm still having a good time. But these are the thoughts that get stirred up when I'm kind of hanging out in a courtroom with all these dudes and they're talking instead of, you know, fighting stuff. So
there's too much talking, not enough turning into a Titan and killing the entire human race.
Sometimes. Like, it's kind of like... Yeah, at some point, it's just like, you should be talking a little more smack than you have crazy ass powers. You should kind of assert yourself a little more with these kind of windbags. Just like, I'm a Titan, so fuck off. And then that's the end of that scene. No more dialogue past that point. The rich asshole just kind of goes, oh shit, and then kind of leaves. That's the show.
Right, but then the problem is that the people specifically, I think, that are kicking him around, or whatever, like I think it was Levi, right?
Yeah.
That dude, like, can one-on-one a Titan. So, like, if he became a Titan, it's just like, well, you're still powerless because I'm going to kill you. You're one, and there's like 5 of us ready.
Sorry, that actually, like, that's true. That dude has he's good at doing that stuff. That's the thing that, like, every now and then that show just seems to kind of arbitrarily make Titans more dangerous than they actually ought to be, in a way. Like, it's just like, you know, there's this big battle to seal up the wall, and it's like, okay. But, like, going into the battle, everyone's kind of just like, yeah, we're probably going to lose a ton of soldiers. And it's like, why? They're a bunch of, like, stumbling baby men. Like, just cut their neck. Like... Why are
they're
so
a bunch
bad?
Of stumbling babies just cut their neck?
Yeah.
Ethan Roar 2014.
I said baby men, so I wasn't as creepy soundbite as, but yeah. Like they're so dumb. It's like watching a George Romero zombie movie where the person fails at getting out of the room, and it's just like they're walking so slow. Like, just don't lose control of your legs, and you should be able to get out of this. Like, I don't understand how this is. Oh, you're dead. Like, that kind of thing is just happening in the show. It's like it'll just cut to, like, dude got grabbed by a Titan. It's just like, how did that happen? How did you let this get this bad? You have swords and, like, cables. Why are you here? And then, like, characters who are super good at doing that most of the time will somehow get in pickles sometimes. And you're just like, what? Mikasa could have killed all of these. And then there was the scene where they're like hoarding them all in one part of the town. And then at the end of that, they're just like, yeah, we shot them all with our cannons and that worked. And I was like, that works? If that works, why are there any casualties? Like, what are,
they're not worried. They're not worried about the normal Titans that are, as you put it, big baby men.
Big baby men.
They're worried about the aberrants that are just like, they come in and they are giant actual thinking beings and they're like people. Like they know how to fight and move around and stuff. Those are the scary ones.
Right. It's like occasionally there'll be a weird, like, this one can jump really well. Or like this one's really fast. And you're just like, okay, well those ones might be worth looking at, like being apprehensive about. But then just like normal dudes, it's just like, I don't get it. Just the neck.
I mean, the normal ones are still scary for the general populace because all they know how to do is run and hide in a home, which will help them.
And a lot of them haven't seen them, which they keep kind of reminding me of. It's like, oh yeah, that's right. Like so many people have lived their entire lives without actually ever having seen these freaky giants that they're hiding from. So they're a little incredulous about it. Like they're just like, why? What are you talking about? That's not real. And they're just like, dude, shut up. Like you haven't been beyond the wall. It's fucked. It's real bad. So I don't know. I still dig that show, but these are just things.
Spoiler alert for you a little bit. They go outside of the walls, and you get to see some of the stuff out there, and then you're just like, this is bad. The theme
song has a bunch of footage of them in forests and stuff, so it's just like, okay.
Yeah, when I say like spoilers, it's like you probably have seen the end in that theme song beginning.
Yeah, like there was stuff in the first theme song segment where it's just like that hasn't happened yet, and it doesn't happen until like episode 11. There's like a bunch of them in this like box with guns, and they're like it's spinning around, they're all shooting. I'm just like, what is this, and when does this happen? And it's just like, oh, there it is. So yeah, I've seen footage of the future, but I have no context yet, so it's okay.
Right, exactly.
Anime, production IG stuff.
Yep. You're enjoying it, though.
Yeah.
So would you both say it's definitely worth watching? Because I got to episode 3 and I just like, I'm...
So his mom's already been eaten?
It feels slow at the beginning, but yeah. Like, it picks up
actually that
shortly
was the thing,
after where you left off, and actually, I think after, like, episode 15 to the end or whatever, like, somewhere between halfway to the end, it's just a nonstop thing.
Like I had already seen the first 3 episodes and I was just like, Brittany, like this show's pretty good, let's just watch. Don't worry, not a lot has happened so far, because not a lot has happened so far. I basically just like told her what happened and then we started watching it like episode 4. So
yeah, and then 4 more episodes and a lot happens.
Yeah, like there's some background stuff that they elaborate on later, but yeah, that is the worst part of so far. So it might be worth going on more, unless you're just not into like the whole premise. Like you're just like, this is lame. Giants, bleh. But
I don't, like that's why I started in the first place, because I heard nothing but just full on praise for the show and how everything was the best thing ever. And it just started so slow for me. I was like, is this going to be worth it in the end? But I'll give it another shot, because I mean, it doesn't hurt anything. If nothing else, I'm just wasting time. But
that's like 20 minutes. Like that's kind of a key for me too. It's just like, this is short enough. This is like, I have a sandwich. All right. And then you just turn on episode.
I have a sandwich. All right. Nathan Roy 2014.
Bumper sticker number 3 on a hat.
Yep.
I have a sandwich. All right. That one I'll endorse.
Fridge magnet.
Nathan, I've been being told that I have to keep watching Gurren Lagann.
Oh, okay.
And I am relentlessly bugged about it. And I do like it. But I think you should watch it with me, and we'll do like a book report thing.
Oh, we'll do like a back and forth about it? What?
Yeah, because I'm only on it. I'm only on episode 7 right now, and it's still only like a 20-something arc sort of thing. It's the same thing as Attack on Titan, basically. So when you get to episode 7-ish, we can just start talking about it maybe more regularly, so that will calm down people a little bit.
Okay. Oh, there's only 27 episodes.
GURRENLAGANN, I think.
Yeah, I spelled it horribly wrong, but Google knew what I was talking about, and they
Right.
fixed it. So, yeah. Okay. Is it on Netflix too?
I don't.
No,
Mm.
that is the problem. However, I have a flash drive. So when I see you to give you your mug.
Oh
I
wait,
will give
apparently
you-
Brittany might actually have this show already. So
Oh, okay.
and
Okay,
something's
sounds
not
good.
quite right with Netflix right now, and that's weird. But whatever.
There's never anything quite right with Netflix. Anyways, that's all I've done. Oni, let's hear from you a little bit. What have you been interested in?
Ooh, that's a good question. I've mostly just been playing video games. I beat BioShock Infinite Sunday.
How'd you
Right.
like it?
I'm still kind of
Every time there's a lighthouse.
well,
every
and
time.
that's the entire time you were talking about the whole for lack of a better time, I'll just call it interactive cutscene bit. That's the first thing that came to mind because to me, the ending of BioShock Infinite did the whole thing of keeping between interaction and cutscene that I thought it had a very good blend of, and it kept me interested the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
The ending itself, I'm not sure how I feel about because on one hand, there were some parts of it that I was able to figure out, but at the same time, it still was delivered so well. And in a sense, it had a bit of eeriness delivered to it at the final bits that it was really unsettling.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Can we go ahead and discuss the ending? Is that a thing or?
We're just shy of a year from the game coming
So
out.
probably, right?
Okay.
I think that's worth kind of like, hey, past this point, thar be spoiling.
Yeah.
That's what you say, right? That's the official phrase, and then it's everyone past that point. So
You
so
go to
at
Rapture.
the end of the show, Walter White.
You go to
Standing
Rapture,
Yeah. Oh,
At
okay.
some
Right.
point.
Right. Rapture. Yeah.
and you die.
Dun dun dun.
Done.
They just leave his body in the river and it floats down to Rapture.
Yeah, pretty much.
BioShock 1, if you look really closely, you'll see. No, I don't know. But
There's always a man. There's always a lighthouse.
Yeah. So I don't even know what to. It gets into like multiverse stuff. Like
Yeah.
it almost seems. I don't know. Like I'm not sure if I liked that or I was like that's kind of lazy, but whatever.
Yeah.
it kind of does the thing that the 2009 Star Trek movie does, where it opens up plenty of plot holes if you think about it, depending on which laws of multiple universes it follows.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because, for one thing, how I may have missed something, but how could Booker and Comstock be in the same universe without it just somehow
Because of a tear in reality, basically.
Well, I guess, yeah, it's like that would create a paradox, but then I think their justification is
Yeah.
like, yeah, and it is, and that's why the universes are falling apart. So that's why
Right.
he needs to be killed to like seal the problem or whatever. And you're just like, oh, okay, so you're kind of playing through this collapsing multiverse. And like, sure, why not?
Which is weird because if you're talking about paradoxes with the two of them being in the same time or reality at the same time,
yeah.
that sounded really weird coming out now that I think about it.
Mhm.
But if that's the paradox, then what happens when they quote unquote kill him at the end and there's like 6 Elizabeths in the
Yeah.
same reality?
Like, I think they will be unmade as well as this is like the father or whatever, right?
Yeah, they are. They disappear.
So I don't know. Like, yeah, it seemed like a fun kind of campy sci-fi story. I don't know what people are getting out of it beyond that, though. Maybe that's all stopped. Like, this was like almost a year ago where I was seeing forum threads of people like breaking down the ending, and I was like, "What's there to break down?" Like, it was a pulpy sci-fi romp, and it was fun. And then it's just like, no, you just don't get it. It's like, I'm pretty sure I do, and you're just not thinking a lot. So whatever. I have an English degree, so I'm gonna leave. Figured it out.
drop the mic
kind
and
of
walk
waving
out.
my hands around. Yeah, exactly. I kind of stopped thinking about that game after I played it, but I had a good time. But yeah, like going to BioShock, like going back to BioShock, Rapture rather, was kind of a fun little moment where it's just kind of like, oh, cool. They're tying all of it in together and actually acknowledging all of it. And I was like, okay, sure. And then going through it, like when you kind of figure out what's the twins' name, like the weird duo, like kind of what their deal was, that was kind of a nice little revelation of just kind of like, oh, all right, cool.
I still don't like them that much, though. Just something about them really unnerves me.
The Latesses or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like they're talking in sync, and they're meant to be a little creepy.
Yeah.
Like they're obviously supposed to stand out from the crowd as being like, "What's with those people?" And then over the course of the game, you're like, it's like, no, they were actually important. Like they're keeping tabs on you, and this is all part of the story. And you're just like, oh, okay, cool. But yeah, like letting you kind of walk through spaces as story unfolds, like it does that okay, I suppose. And I actually like the combat mechanics. Not enough to play like a full DLC pack of more of it.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
But as I was playing it, I was having a decent time just kind of shooting and jumping around and upgrading weapons and all that stuff. So, like, I had no significant issues with it. It just kind of seemed like a fun romp. But are you like, did you like it considerably more than that? Is this now like one of your favorite games from last year? Or?
There's still a couple of design choices that make me just really on the game itself. Like the fact that BioShocks 1 and 2 both had maps, and Infinite just has the whole dead space, hit a button and we'll show you the way type thing. I don't really like that form of navigation.
Yep.
I'm just kind of shuffling you along, like you can go back, but
yeah. And I don't know, because that it seems to me like the game is a lot more linear, or it's not as disguised as well. Like in BioShock 1 and 2, yeah, they're linear, but at the same time, because you had the map and you could do almost whatever just walking back and forth, it really disguised its linearity rather well to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like,
But
whereas in the first BioShock, there'd be like it being linear would be like this door's locked arbitrarily and I have to do this to open it, where in BioShock Infinite it is literally there is a line here and I have to go on it to go to the next part because Sky.
Like it's you're right. It's actually on rails. Like there's literal rails that you ride on to the next area.
That you have to move through.
And really early in the game, like there was a point where like there's like a treasure box or something that you get the key for way later. And I just didn't go back.
No, fuck that.
And like after that environment, I was kind of just like, okay, this game is basically a corridor, whatever. It looks really nice, and I'll just keep going. Like it was like, again, rails, a roller coaster. Like it was actually akin to a roller coaster at times, where it was just like, all right, like this is the pacing of a ride, and I'm just going down this path and shooting stuff, and weird things are happening and sci-fi and whatever. And then it was over like 10 hours later, maybe. Like it didn't seem that long.
Yeah, about 10.
Are you at all interested in the DLC stuff? Like
Well, I do plan on getting it. I'm thinking about just waiting once however many episodes they put out for the Burial at Sea. I'm probably just going to get it then. But I would say that I'm definitely interested in it, if only because Infinite has that little section of Rapture made me think, wow, I love BioShock 1 and 2. I need to go back and play those again, which just resulted in me buying the BioShock book, which is actually pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah, I was a little bit surprised. I don't know. I've always really enjoyed BioShock. I know it's kind of dumb, but one of my favorite parts in BioShock 2 is just sitting on the bottom of the sea as the Big Daddy and just being able to look around and walk around, because I just love how it looks and that tone it sets.
Mm-hmm.
Even if the rest of the game is about as much of a shooter as a Call of Duty game, but still.
It has a little more thought put in. Well, it's also just kind of a unique place.
Yeah.
I mean, there's two of them, but there's not a lot of games set in weird underwater utopias or dystopias, I guess. Yeah.
And that's the thing, though. As much as I like Columbia, I just don't think it matches Rapture. I mean, they both have their pros and cons, but just to me, being amongst clouds, like, okay, I see this every day. I can just literally look up. But being in the deep sections of the ocean,
That's
just
more
seeing like
mysterious.
whales. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like there's not a lot to wonder about. Like, what's up in the sky? It's like clouds and like birds. And if you go far enough, there's outer space. kind of
Yeah.
nothing. Like, whereas in the ocean,
Bioshock
it's like,
4 in space.
yeah, like the ocean is full of just like, I don't know. Like, and science doesn't know some things
Yeah.
that are down there. Like, it's just like, it's too deep. We don't even know. There's weird mystery. So yeah. You're right. It's
And
kind
it
of
gives
just a more
Rapture
compelling
like a
story.
personality.
Yeah.
Rapture itself becomes almost like a weird antagonistic force, or like an weird ambience for everything.
Sure.
Whereas Columbia is essentially just a place where things are happening.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it's like Columbia was more so a religious haven, while Rapture was just like essentially a place where you could try and go and be the best you could be, but it eventually just realizes, oh wait, can't have too many people doing that or else the infrastructure and the economy just falls apart.
Right. Like things can go really badly for everyone if shit goes bad under the ocean.
Yeah. No, it's definitely a more interesting setting. They almost go with like just the Disney lightness to some of the stuff. Like there's literally like her dancing around and singing. And like I think there was, or like when it came out, like people kind of comparing her to like Disney princesses and stuff. And you're just
Well,
like,
she
you're
looks
not wrong.
Oh yeah,
Belle.
she looks just like one.
Yeah,
She looks like
it's
Belle
just-
from Beauty and the Beast. Like
Mhm.
exactly.
like they just kind of have this less somber atmosphere around, and like there's lots of like bad things and like gun battles and whatever, but it all just seems so much more. Like I guess that maybe that was the comparison. It was like Disneyland gone crazy.
Yeah.
Like it's like you're in Disneyland,
Sure.
but then like there's just murderers everywhere. And that's kind of its own weird thing that isn't quite like anything else I've played, but like there was something cool about how oppressive the Rapture was. Like it was like you'd go into a room and then just like weird creepy rabbit masks and you're just like,
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on. This is wrong and strange and this is weird.
Yeah.
Like in a way that is more like made a better impression on my mind than some of the stuff in Infinite.
Then
Like I remember like there was
cops.
weird, there's cops, there's like weird
Yeah.
museum kind of section that was kind of okay, but I didn't get too entranced with it. Like it's kind of like recontextualizing past massacres in history,
Yeah.
and like that's kind of novel, but it just the Americana kind of stuff they're riffing on didn't blow my mind really. It was kind of a cool, brightly lit thing.
Well, the
But,
problem with Columbia is that it's a society. You're just
Yeah.
doing there's some shit going on and you don't agree with like the patriarch sort of thing. So you're going to throw them down. That's basically what Columbia is. Whereas Rapture is, this place has taken on a whole new life after society has collapsed and you're just trying to get your way through it sort of thing.
Yeah.
Mhm. And
I
I
don't-
mean, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, to me, Rapture also had a bit of a feeling that it gave like almost a fear of claustrophobia, considering the fact that you've got all this water surrounding you. It's putting pressure on the structure. And as you walk through it, you can see all the leaks, all the damage that's happened to it. And it's just like, oh crap, this could actually go wrong really quickly.
Yeah. There's something inherent, like the whole environment is threatening. Like the
Yeah.
ocean, like there's death all around you. Like this whole place could be crushed and destroyed, and that's kind of spooky. Whereas, it's like if you fall, I guess, out of a building or something, but then they also have just like Songbird save you a couple times, and like you fall on a balloon or something. Like they just kind of mitigate any threat from the environment pretty quickly. So you're just kind of like, the only thing I need to worry about is these bad dudes and handymen, which are never fun to fight.
Oh god, I hate those guys so much.
They're just not fun.
The
Like it's like
handyman,
going up
yeah.
against a big daddy is like this thing you choose to be a part of. It's like, do
Yeah.
you want to do this whole thing or not? Whereas handyman is like, no, they're gonna kill you unless you kill it. So you need to kill it.
The handyman is like, hey, you know all that nice ammo you have? Better get ready to lose all of it and still maybe die.
Like empty all those clips and hope it works out. Like, I was never too happy with those encounters. Whereas like there were times where I'm just scrapping with regular dudes in the streets and I'm kind of like, I'm going to use this big like revolver because it's cool. And I was kind of like having a pretty good time.
Yeah.
Having this like Western standoff shooting and whatever. But whenever it was like handyman time, it was just kind of a sigh. That probably led to me stopping a couple sessions with it. Just be like, fine, I'll play this again later. So just not as well considered. Still, I don't know. Still fine. I don't feel bad about having it, but Yeah.
I mean, it's a fun game. Yeah, I just don't think it's as good as everybody says it is.
It seemed that went away.
Yeah.
It was weird. It was like
Yeah.
everyone was super up on it, and then like a month and a half later, it just was like everyone was either kind of annoyed with it or just kind of forgot about it. Like it just kind of disappeared. I didn't hear much about it in relation to like Game of the Year stuff either when that came around.
It was on my list.
It was like on lists, but it was like no one was like, yeah, BioShock Infinite was the best game.
Right.
Best game. It's like, really? I'm okay. I don't know. I guess whatever. That's a whole avenue I could go down of like seeing top 10 lists by people who maybe didn't play that much.
Yeah.
So just kind of like, what is the point of this? Like, if you didn't play more than 10 games, what value are your top 10 games? Being kind of a jerk about it. Like, it's like I don't like make a list of my favorite albums if I didn't listen to a lot of albums that year. You know, like me saying like Random Access Memories is the best album of 2013 means nothing because I listened to 3 albums that year. So I'm not going to bother putting that anywhere. But it's like I played 70 games or something, and these are the top 10. It's like, okay, well, that might matter. But then it's like, these are the 10 games I played this year, and some of them were pretty good. What is the value of Nathan's complaining? You know, that's really...
You just read that too, huh?
Ultimately. Anyway.
I'm going to say it's worth about 3 to 4 hours weekly.
And maybe, just maybe, an iTunes review.
Oh, and a thumbs up on Stitcher.
Sure, yeah. Like, it's just... I don't listen to anything on Stitcher, so I don't know how big of a factor that is. But... like, that kind of feedback really apparently is all that matters in terms of podcast ranking. So,
iTunes?
Yeah.
Yeah, because people still use shitty systems for stuff, apparently.
Yeah, like, it's,
So.
I've only been becoming aware of this more recently as I've kind of been like, all right, like, let's check the top gaming podcasts. And it's just like, scroll. Wait, what is this? And then I click on it, and it's like number 200 or something, but it's like a dead podcast from 6 years ago. I'm just like, how is
But
this
somehow it's
on
still
this
great.
list? Yeah, like it's like no one is listening to this. Where am I at? Where am I at? Where's my ranking? I should be on here. So I'm just kind of pestering people a little more than normal about if you want to share some thoughts, go do it. But then irony, because I am basically that app that says rate me 5 stars. So I'm the worst. I should aspire to be more like Flappy Bird and just kind of not give a fuck.
If there was a Kraznor app, I would recommend everybody download it immediately. I think it's great.
I think everybody would download that, though.
I
don't
think
even know
so,
what
too.
that would do, but okay.
Just
It would
be
just
a
like-
Kraznor G soundboard.
That's just
Like, not
out of 10.
even really. It would be like Get Glue. You would check into a game, and then it would tell you you're an idiot.
Yeah. Why are you even playing that? That would actually be great if like there was actually a service like that, but it like judges your entertainment habits.
Why don't
Instead
we
of it's
do
just-
it?
Yeah, it's just
Let's
like
look into it.
you check into a TV show, it's like fucking waste of time. Why are you watching that?
That'd be
What are you
great.
doing?
I would actually sign up for that.
Like turn back now. Like yeah, if it's actually kind of like trying to help you better take use of your entertainment time. Like it's just like no, don't stop right now. Like thanks for letting us know. You should officially not be even doing that. It's like, oh wow, okay, never mind. I'm not going to watch that movie. I better return my ticket.
Okay, I would actually download that, and then I would log into Deadly Premonition because that's the second of the 3 games I've been playing this past week.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah.
And I just trying to see what that app would say on it because I feel conflicted.
Game
like
of the year, 10 out of 10.
Like yeah, it would just be my top 10 list from that year.
floating balloon out of 10.
Yeah,
Slowly,
it's a helium balloon that's totally doing great. That's
Not even a helium balloon. It's like the hot air balloon with people riding in it, having fun.
Throwing confetti off the sides.
So, like,
Yeah.
what would that sound be like?
balloons are
People
loud.
cheering.
They're
just
really loud.
just put in a jet engine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like that's yeah. But okay, no. I mean, that game is super divisive. Some people just can't deal with it. How are you enjoying it thus far?
Well,
Conflicted?
considering I've 100% it or
Oh,
platinum it, I should say I'm enjoying it a good bit. The only problem I have with is because it's the director's cut on the PS3 version, it's technically bad. And the reason I say that is because there is a lot of frame rate issues whenever it rains or like you go to replay a Otherworld level.
Mm.
And the driving, so glad to see they worked on that.
Oh, they actually tweaked. I've only ever played the 361. I have the director's cut. But
That's the only. Well, the director's cut's only good for PC from what I've heard, because apparently there's a fan mod that fixes all of the problems. But no, the driving. I've sent York's car into the air about just about every time I've tried to make a turn in that dang thing.
Weird. Okay.
Yeah. But I mean, the game's still.
Now I'm just thinking back. I love how much that game just like gives you dumb rewards. Like it's just like, hey, you drove X number of miles. Here's like $10. You're just like, okay, I guess. Like it's just like constantly giving
you about $400 to fill up.
Yeah, it's just nonsense incentive to keep playing, or just like weird coins just on the road. It's just like great. Yeah. Anyway, sorry, just flashbacks to 4 years ago. The year of games.
Oddly enough, going slightly off topic, like you were the one who actually got me into that, because back at the time I used to go to GameStop all the time and I'd see that game just sitting on the shelf and be like, I want to play this game, but at the same time I don't know.
Yeah.
Next thing I know, listen to that episode of Top Down where you just go on about it for a good 45 minutes to an hour. I'm like, okay, it's $20. Might as well.
Yeah, that was that. I'm glad I could help. I don't know. That game definitely struck something with me, and I was really, really excited in a way.
It's one of those games that kind of start off slow, but once you get maybe after the hospital area and you meet everybody, it just kicks in full force. And
yeah.
Like so you start to care about the cast in a weird way you weren't expecting, and it kind of just becomes like a TV show. But you know, what's the case this time? Like I got to investigate this new murder. I don't know. I was really impressed with that game, like unironically, by a lot of things it does. And it sounds like so you've platinumed it. Does that still require you to play it 3 times?
No. What they did was they actually took out the difficulty setting.
Okay.
And so I think it's just set on easy or normal. I can't remember which difficulty it's automatically set on, but yeah, they took that out. Thank God.
Okay, yeah, because like the 361, it's like basically pretty trivial to see all the stuff in one playthrough, but to get all the achievements, you need to beat that game on all the difficulties. So
yeah, that's the good thing about the PS3 version is it's just do everything in the game and you're good.
Okay.
So because I love the characters and the items you get from the side quest, I was like, it's not hurting me in any way, so why not?
There's some collecting stuff though, right? Like,
the only thing you have to collect is just the trading cards, and you get most of those just by doing the side quest or just going around and looking for them.
Right.
I mean, it's nothing you have to go too far out of your way of, like in Saints Row.
No, yeah. I just remember there was like one in the sawmill area that was like behind a fence, and it just drove me crazy because I was like, how do I get there? I was in there. Is there a door that goes to that like yard? But yeah.
Wasn't that the one you actually had to beat one of those race missions for?
That might be the case. I did start doing racing stuff at some point, and those do kind of just let you unlock things. That game. I love it, but there are some things. I don't know. Swery is pretty great, though. I hope his next thing is cool. And I also hope it somehow
comes out on something other than the Xbox One.
Yeah, but it can't. Like, it's a Kinect game.
So crap.
I'm just like, well, hackers made the Kinect work on the PC, so we're going to support that? Like, they would never do that. So, I don't know. We'll see. If it's worth giving a crap about. Because, like, I tried playing Spy Fiction and just didn't enjoy what I was experiencing. So, Force Case and be damned. I don't care. I don't know if I'll get into that game. But they figured it out one time. Deadly Premonition. And yeah.
Still a great game after, how long has it been now?
4 years.
4 years?
Pretty much exactly. It came out in February, I think. So, yeah.
Hey, there we go. Perfect timing then.
4th year anniversary. check it out. But you said there was a third game?
Yeah, I've also been playing a lot of Saints Row 4.
Cool.
Nice. Yeah.
Superpowers.
Well,
Did you buy
more
the Saiyan wig? Did you get the...
No, I haven't. My get up on that is actually Chris Redfield dressed up like Roddy Piper.
Okay. Which is... How much have you played? Because there might be...
I've beat it. The only thing I have left to do is finish this How the Saints Saved Christmas DLC.
Ah, okay.
So have either one of you played the Enter the Dominatrix DLC?
Nope.
No. Is it
Okay.
good?
The ending alone is quite possibly the best video game ending I've ever seen.
Okay.
Okay. Wow.
That sounds
All right.
maybe worth a look then. I was not like done with that game necessarily. I just kind of finished the story.
Yeah.
And it was okay. But I could go back, I guess. There's still fun to be had. How much are those kind of DLC packs? Are they...
I think they're... Crap, I can't remember off the top of my head how much they are. I know you can get the season pass for like $10, I think.
Okay. And that just gets you everything?
Yeah, that gets you the two main mission modes or the two main mission packs or whatever they're called, and some weapon called the Rectifier, which it's about like it sounds, gonna be honest.
Rectum type business. Yeah.
Yeah, what it does is it probes them and you can launch them at other people like a rocket. It's that dumb Saints Row humor.
That's pretty great, though.
I don't know. That DLC to me was a lot better than the game itself. But I don't know. I'm just a fan of just over the top stupid things in general.
Enter the Dominatrix at $7 on Steam.
Okay.
Yeah, and so is the Christmas one. But there's also a free thank you pack, which I didn't know about. So I just got that. Some outfits. So there you go. Saints Row. That was on my list last year. That was a good game.
I was a little bit surprised. Just the fact that they just flat out said, okay, screw the whole business with trying to ground it in reality. We're just going to let you have fun, do whatever you want.
For the most part. Every now and then, though, they would have a mission where it's like, you can only use guns in this one. And I was like, what are you doing? Like, I like the superpowers. Why is there like an inhibitor? Like, I don't know. That bothered me every so often. But
I agree, because it was really jarring to get used to.
Because like you're so used to just jumping and stomping on everything, and then it's just like, all right, now you actually have to escort this car, and you're just like, what? What is this? Saints Row 2?
At least it actually gives a legitimate reason as to why you don't have powers.
Yeah, I mean, it is a weird. Well, I don't even mean necessarily stuff where you're outside of the quote matrix.
Yeah.
Like every now and then there's stuff where you're in that reality, but for some reason you have to use this grenade launcher or something. You're just like, fuck that. I can just jump and then slam down on that thing. And why can't I do that? So yeah, I thought that was way more pronounced in Saints Row 3 though. Like they had wacky stuff, but it came really late in the game. So just like, and it's like, if I knew there was a laser jet, like why wasn't I using this 4 hours ago? Like what's that? So this game lets you get going way faster.
Yeah,
so
and
that was
it does have a little bit of pacing issues as far as just how quick you can get your superpowers matched out and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, all of the complaints I really have about it are just going to be nitpicks, because I just really like that game a lot more than I thought I would. Because I played it just coming out of Saints Row 3, and even though it's the same game, same playstyle and all that stuff, I still just blew through it in a couple of sittings.
Yeah, they were long sittings.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was fun times. So video games, they're sometimes pretty good. Conclusion.
Not often though.
Yeah, they do storytelling weird. What's all those cutscenes? Jesus, get them out of here. Video game makers. Anyway.
Oh, can I mention one more thing real quick?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Congratulations on showing me I guess it was the bad ending. I don't know. Talking about the game
of Silent Hill.
Going down weird wrong paths. There you go. That's what
It's
we do.
Technically the good ending, but not the good plus ending, not like the AAA ending. But yeah.
Where you don't have to fight the boss.
Oh god.
But
like I saw that you were commenting here and there on some of the videos. You grew up with Silent Hill, I'm guessing.
Believe it or not, I actually didn't play it until a couple of years ago.
Okay, so how did you find like the clunky controls and weird 90s era? We're still trying to figure out how to do 3D environments garbage in that game.
I don't know. I adjusted to it pretty easily. I guess the reason that being is because I played Resident Evil since the remake on the GameCube.
Okay. Yeah.
And so
they were still trying to figure that out.
Yeah. I mean, I would get used to the controls, jump to a different game like Resident Evil 4. And anytime I would go back to one of the old games, it would take me a little bit to get used to them again, but it didn't take me too long to where it would really just mess me up.
Right.
I don't know. I guess because I had a somewhat open mind about it, I was just really because psychological horror game, how can you really go wrong with that? And
I agree.
Which that may be why I'm so obsessive over the suffering, but yeah, I don't know. I really enjoyed the game. It was a bit what's the term I'm trying to think of here? It was a little bit, dang it, my mind just went blank. Coming from Silent Hill 3, because that was my first game, or my first Silent Hill game, it was a little bit jarring to see some of, like, even though the game style hadn't changed between Silent Hill 1 and Silent Hill 3, it was just the small little add-ins they added to the controls just made a big difference.
Yeah, Silent Hill 1 feels very primitive compared to 2 and onwards, for sure.
I don't know, though. I don't think it was that big a difference, unless you change the control style in 2 to 2D or whatever it is. But,
I always do that, though. I like the 2D control in that one. But,
makes combat a lot less painful.
Yeah, a lot less. Which is probably important when you're just trying to get through, like, the story and the psychological horror part, to be, like, held up with combat problems because they weren't focusing on great combat. Like, it's probably best to just make that as painless as you can.
Yeah, and see, I think that's kind of where it differs from Resident Evil to me, is Resident Evil always seemed to focus more on the action and its combat. And Silent Hill is just like, yeah, we have combat, but it's kind of like a last-minute type thing, so it's not the best. But here's this story that is extremely symbolic, so have a field day with it.
Yeah, Silent Hill has always been more about, like, these enemies are kind of overpowered for the clunky combat and the lack of weaponry you have to handle them, so the best way to handle them is to try to run if you can.
Unless you play on a New Game Plus in which you can have, like, 6 times the ammo, and then it just completely breaks the game, but...
Oh, and then you can have the chainsaw and the rock crusher weapon and all this other crazy... The laser gun. Like, you can have some dumb shit in that game because Konami. But... yeah, I don't know. Nathan, you love that game. Admit it.
What, Silent Hill?
Yeah, it's probably your favorite game of 1999 in 2013.
Maybe. Sure, yeah. I guess I'll give it that distinction. I've just been marveling at the fact that we somehow landed on 52, so there's one for each week of the year.
Yeah, you know, you were saying, like, are you going to release these weekly? And I said no, because it'll take a year.
You were right. Exactly.
I had no idea it would be 52, but I figured it would be close to 50. But it probably should have been more like 45. It's just that Sybil fight took a while.
Yeah, and I had never actually seen that boss fight before because I always did the red gel in the jar.
Yeah, which I didn't know was a thing, so we missed that opportunity, and then I ran into that wall over and over. That was a lot of fun.
Because I said it once, I remember. You're like, what do you use this bottle for, or whatever? I said, you get a red liquid that you need later in the game. You're like, okay. And then we took our 2 weeks or 3 weeks or whatever away from each other. Then you came over, and we played again, and it was all new again.
And it's like, all right, we're out of the hospital. Woo! And it's just... oh, you screwed up real bad. It's like, okay. Or like me beating that boss and then just leaving. Like, I didn't know I couldn't go back, and then I didn't have a rifle. Like, just these kind of things where...
To be fair, the rifle thing has happened to a lot of people, though, because it's just kind of there. You have to, like, kind of look around. Yeah. Because once you beat that boss, it kind of, like, the expectation is you're just going to leave. But if you look over, there's a rifle and, like, a broken case sort of thing.
How many hours of content? Like, if you just hit play all on this playlist, what are you looking at? Ridiculous.
I think it was 10 hours of footage.
Gross. Okay.
Yeah.
Internet.
So I guess, like, it's kind of pointless for us to talk about Silent Hill because there's 10 hours of us essentially talking about every facet of it. But that is available on YouTube if anybody wanted to watch that. I'm glad you enjoyed it, at least. Did you watch it all the way through to the end?
I have a couple of videos I haven't had the chance to catch up and watch on.
Sure.
But
because we had to game the ending, too.
I'm really interested to see the ending because I've only seen the Good Plus one because might as well go ahead and save everybody while you can. I mean, who wants to be stuck in this hellhole?
I love that that's a thing. It's like I might as well watch it to the end because I've never seen it the fucked up way before. So I'm glad we could present that to you.
I'm gonna be honest. I was almost wondering, like, once I saw the civil boss fight, I thought to myself, okay, is this gonna be the bad plus ending where like Harry just dies, or how's this gonna be? But I don't know. I'm just really interested to see what it's gonna be.
Yeah, it's an interesting end. The game glitches on us. Even, and like, it's not a spoiler or anything for what happens, but basically every time Nathan would shoot him with a handgun, the last guy, it would just make this terrible noise of like a feedback loop.
That's right.
Every single time. To the point where those last videos, I actually had to go in and fix the sound on all of them so people wouldn't be like deaf by the end, because it was so loud.
Tone that down a little bit.
It was loud for us, but in the recording, it was blaring loud.
Gross. Sorry, I'm trying to... It was like, sorry, just people are haranguing me for complaining and stuff, and it's just like, should I have
a thing? What were you complaining about?
Well, just everything, apparently. Like, and I was just like, should there be something like I don't have any complaints about? And then I'll just be like, yeah, Louis C.K. It's pretty good.
I love getting emails from that guy.
I bought that special he was talking about, and then I watched that and Live at Beacon Theater again, and I was just like, yeah, this is just funny. I just like this. Like, I don't have any beef with any of that. So there you go. That's my one, not like just no qualifiers, just funny stuff.
But I'll tell you something about complaining. You said in the chat, you know what's great? Complaining 10 out of 10 best activity.
Yeah.
If you complain enough, people will start to listen to what you have to say. So,
I guess. Just have a soapbox.
The soapbox. That's what you need. Step up on it and start saying how terrible quantum theory is.
I almost want to check it out now, though. See, at some point,
I know.
So far the one direction where it's like, this is the worst thing. It's like, the worst thing? Well, I gotta check that out. That's crazy.
Yeah. And then people that have actually played are like, it's really not that bad. It probably isn't. I was just so angry when I played it that it was wasting so much of my time for nothing.
So check out that review on Pixel Response.
It is up there. Yeah, for sure. Anyways, I think we've exhausted everything to the point where we're talking about complaining as a subject. So let's go ahead and see what other people had to say. We'll do some voicemails now. Okay, so here we go.
Hey, Paul. Hey, Nate. I've come to the startling realization that Meowth is fucking insane. She's batshit crazy. As you know, I'm an anime fan, but she's obsessed with it. Let me take you back in time. The date is February 3rd, 2014. Meowth has finished 14 episodes of Hunter x Hunter, 100 times Hunter, Hunter Cross Hunter, I don't fucking know. Anywho, she started watching less than 3 days ago. Where I am in the manga is about episode 20 of the anime. By the time you hear this, she'll probably be on episode 40. In the days leading to the podcast, she will have the destructive potential to tweet some major spoilers. My question is, how the hell do you think she watches all that anime and has time to play video games, watch Let's Plays, and record Let's Plays? I think she's a robot. Possibly a Terminator. She probably looks like Arnold Schwarzenegger, and that's why we've never seen her and only heard her voice. Sincerely, a concerned Marshmallow. I'll see you at the stream.
See you at the stream. Okay, so she's only on episode 23, she just said.
Yeah,
so not 40.
Yeah.
But it sounds like she's getting close to territory where she can potentially spoil things for Marshmallow.
So that's the concern here, is like people racing ahead further than you can manage and then spoiling stuff for you. She wouldn't like spitefully spoil things.
Well,
right?
to Marshmallow she might.
Oh, okay. Well, now
for calls like that.
Beef.
I'm going to go ahead and say one thing quickly before we answer the question. If we can help it, we're not going to take voicemails where it's just kind of calling people out on stuff, because I don't want to be like cold cuss out the podcast.
Right.
That is not what we're going for. We're like call in with your complaints about people. Like,
you
no,
told me that there was some call outs, and I was like, what? What do you mean? But okay.
Like, it's not, I don't think it's malicious.
I think it's jokey. Hopefully the tone
it's definitely
is
jokey.
understood.
Yeah. But as for having time to like do all that stuff, like I did all that sort of stuff when I was in high school too. Mm-hmm. You would go to school, do your homework like at lunch or something. Then when you got home, you had hours upon hours, including the weekend, to do whatever you wanted. That's where I played most of like my 15-hour like game sessions, like beating Metal Gear Solid in one night sort of thing, or like playing through a whole bunch of Resident Evils over a weekend. That's where I did all of that. It's not until you get into like having the 40-hour-a-week job and like other things to do that it becomes more difficult to do that sort of stuff. So I don't know. I think it's pretty normal to me. What about you two?
I guess you definitely do have more free time earlier, which is kind of too bad because you have the ability to get more stuff to watch later. But maybe that's been gotten rid of now because it's just like $8 gets you infinite stuff or whatever. Like, I don't know. It's more accessible than ever to just get a ton of shows.
Well, it's weird because we like grew up in different time periods here too, where like the internet wasn't big when we were still like in high school and stuff. So the weekend I got the new Resident Evil game was the weekend I spent playing it through like twice, sort of thing. Like it wasn't like I could go on to Netflix and watch a full anime series because it was accessible and just there. I would have to find the money to get it.
Right.
Like then I would have the time, but now it's the opposite, where it's like I have the money to get it. I just don't necessarily have all the time to do it.
Whereas, like I would go through tons of stuff when I was like, we'd go and rent like a stack of tapes. Like it would be the things. Like go down Tuesdays, I think, and it was super cheap at Video Update. These are things that used
Video
to exist.
Update. Yeah.
And just whatever. Like, what do they got? And we just walk around the store for like an hour or something and just pick out a ton of stuff. And then it's just like you'd have some incentive to watch all of it, and then I'd watch all of these movies. And now it's just like
on a Friday, my mom would pick me up and we would go to the Game Dudes to rent the game for the weekend.
Exactly. Like that kind of thing. And now it's just kind of like, imagine there's just an infinite stack everywhere. Like it's just you have access to thousands and thousands of movies, tons of TV shows. Like at some point that becomes paralyzing because you're just like, I don't even know what to choose. Like I don't know. I'm going to listen to a podcast while playing a game and have a movie on you could do all sorts of weird multimedia business. So I guess if you're just focused on a show though, it's pretty easy to jam through it. So if that's what Meowth's doing, just kind of like, I want to watch this, watch all of it. This, it's disciplined in a way. It's disciplined viewing. I don't have that anymore. So
no, maybe because there is too much. You're right.
Yeah, I've been like bouncing from show to show to show. Like we were sort of still watching American Horror Story. Like the one we've been mostly consistent on though is Attack on Titan. So hopefully we can finish that off. But I watched like 2 episodes of Louie this week and was like, oh yeah, this is great. So I don't know, just scatterbrained all the time. please don't spoil stuff maliciously, I guess is the final, don't. There was an episode of Community about that, basically, about reading ahead in Game of Thrones, essentially, and then spoiling it for people. Like, that's the thing people do. Because some people don't want to watch the show. But yeah,
and then they
that's
call
on
you a
hiatus
loser
right now.
for not knowing it already.
Yeah.
Why are you so surprised by Red Wedding? It's been out in book form for a long time. It's like, shut the fuck
almost
up.
a decade. What's
Seriously,
wrong with
just
you?
shut the fuck up.
Yeah. It's like, I prefer shows to books. It's not that crazy. But yeah, Community's cool too, I guess. Just bringing that up. It's been kind of put on hiatus because of the Olympics, though. So that's kind of lame. It's a lot NBC.
You know, when the internet started getting prominent, I remember, for me anyways, I remember renting Silent Hill when it came out, and then playing it with a friend, staying up all night, drinking root beer while playing it, and being like, while one person was playing it, the other person was looking up stuff on the internet, and we would be in the Yahoo chat talking to random people about Silent Hill.
Awesome.
Other people were just like, yeah, it's pretty great, right? So that was like my earliest. That's like my video game multimedia internet earliest memory is hanging out with a friend, taking turns playing Silent Hill, and then the other person doing the Yahoo chat thing, talking about the game we were playing while drinking root beer for 24 hours.
Was this chat with just random people?
Yahoo chat?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you would go into like different rooms or whatever, chat rooms.
Right, yeah. Okay. I totally did, like, just that kind of dumb, hey, do you like Godzilla? Like, I would just go from thing to thing, like, chatting about that. And it was just like, wow, someone else somewhere knows about the thing I like. Cool. And that used to be enough of an exciting thing. And now the internet has made that so commonplace.
Before that, even though, we used to use Diablo as a chat room. Battle.
Oh, yeah?
So we would load up Diablo, and, like, before we would play, we would just spend a couple hours in the chat rooms.
Battle.net. Was it even Battle.net then?
It was. Yeah.
Okay. So just chatting it up in the room in Battle.net and just seeing what the internet's doing.
That's right. And you could see what other people were playing and, like, what characters they were playing.
Mm-hmm.
That was Diablo 2 specifically, because then StarCraft was out by that time and people were playing that. But
that's right.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like the internet was so exciting for a while just by being a thing, like just by existing. It's just like, wow, it's so crazy. You just connect with all these people. It's amazing. And now it's just like, yeah, of course. Like, you're more annoyed when something doesn't support that or something. It's just like, what? Really? That's dumb.
And it was weird. It was like IRC for the Battle.net chat, so you would have to go like /join and then hashtag and then the room. And I remember there was always a room, a chat room titled Sex, where a bunch of creepy people were hanging out 24 hours a day. It was full on Battle.net. So,
This the sex room on Battle.net.
hashtag with in front of it. But yeah, it was there.
Great.
Oh man. Battle.net. Before the cam whores became a thing on the internet, we had Battle.net and Diablo. So Blizzard really ahead of their time. Anyways, should we move on to the next question?
Yeah, next question.
Hey Paul, hey Nate. It seems you were using my voicemails as an opener and Meowth's for the closer portion of the voicemails on your show. As the opener, I would like to test my super secret and special powers of foresight to predict that one of Meowth's voicemails will contain one or more mentions of the word Pokemon. Anyways, I have been gaining more confidence in my voice and was wondering if I'll ever share another Skype call with you, Paul. Hopefully I won't have to get you drunk every time I want you to invite me. Of course, according to Meowth,
really
that
weird.
won't be very difficult, because, she thinks you're an alcoholic. I suppose my question is, what are some stupid little things that piss you off? For example, the cartoon Tom and Jerry pisses me off. Tom is portrayed as a bad guy, and that fucking piece of shit vermin pest known as Jerry is the good guy. I hate that goddamn rat. And I hate Pikachu. Also, Scientology. It sounds like science. It should be fucking science. As always, we'll see you at the stream.
Great. It's getting more like beefing in the community, which is kind of weird, but Scientology
First of all,
should be science.
First of all, there's no reason why I wouldn't have another Skype call with you. I just find it weird to be in a Skype call unless we're doing, like, playing a game or doing a podcast or something. Like, just sitting there and chatting, probably not going to happen. But
Okay, yeah.
there's no reason why, like, we couldn't play a game together and
Play
do
some
something like that.
Hearthstone or something. Yeah.
Yeah. And also, I like to have the occasional drink whenever we're doing this. What is the big deal? I don't drink every day of the week.
For a while, I was, and I've stopped buying. Like, it's like, I would just treat it as like, oh, the fridge is full of beers. Cool. I'll just grab a beer.
Yeah, sure.
So
But
if
then
like,
you
there's
don't
beers
buy
on
it.
hand, it's kind of like just too easy to just, yeah, whatever. And I don't know. So I haven't bought any more in a while. Just I'm a little self-conscious about it. So I've been drinking way more soda, which is also terrible. So I don't know. It's dangerous paths. Fizzy beverages, they're so good.
Also, do we have to describe little things that piss us off? I'm pretty sure that's what this podcast revolves around.
Right. So Jason Rohrer,
To be specific, he's not fit for the suffix roar.
I know it kind of it's kind of noisy. Yeah, some games, some shows, whatever. Like I would try like little things, like not those things. Like just kind of like, man, I really
Like things-
hate.
Like
Clipping
no explicable
toenails.
reason, I guess.
Yeah,
Sure.
I don't like the sound of toenail clipping very much. It's kind of sharp. I don't like it. There you go. That's one.
Oni, what about you?
Probably would have to say when a game crashes and I haven't saved in a while. That's the
Yeah.
only thing that will literally make me mad. Everything else I'm kind of chill about. That will.
Yeah.
I haven't had that in a while, but that certainly would be terrible. But now I'm checking GOG.com.
Oh, I know. Pokemon. Pokemon pissed me off.
Dude. Well, Pikachu is apparently hated by Marshmallow, so there you go.
I just love how that's just like, I Tom and Jerry goes off on a little rant, and Pikachu. Also, Scientology.
Yeah.
Jesus, all right.
Hateful things. Oh, dude, self-help books. Like, that's
Yeah.
been a thing that just bothers me at work. Like,
Yeah.
it's just like, I hate this whole section. I hate that there's so many, like, people who are so entitled that they think exactly what, like, their view of how things should be is, like, worthy of being in print on a shelf and, like, dictating. You know? Like, just record a podcast already. Jeez. These authors. Wasting publishers' time. I don't know. I just, yeah. That kind of self-help, like, that, whatever. I don't even know, like, if there's any one thing. It's just, like, the covers, maybe, like the smiling, you know, hey, do what I do. Live how I say. I don't like it.
I mean, religion? But is that a small thing? Not really.
It's kind of a big thing. The religion section is right near the self-help section. So that kind of
So it's just like this
That's-
section of hatred.
that
your
said
store.
though, I actually love the new age section because it's so doofy. Like I just
Yeah.
get a smile out of it. It's just like, oh, UFOs, like aliens built the pyramids. This is so great because this is like kind of no less absurd than this other stuff, but this is serious and this is a joke. This is funny.
Yeah.
Like I just think it's funny. So yeah, I was way into UFO books and stuff as a kid too, like reading about Yetis and all this.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, it was like,
I
this
still
stuff's
like
great.
Greek and like weird mythology stuff too.
Sure. There's this like tarot cards over there and like parapsychology. Like it's just like, where's Dan Aykroyd? Like he should just be on a cover somewhere in this section. Like it just seems like this is his corner of our bookstore.
His
Like that's my
shtick.
favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was actually checking, like, did Dan Aykroyd write a book about UFOs? That seems like something he would do. And it's just like, no, it doesn't exist. It's like, he
Sure.
should do that. He should. I'd read Dan Aykroyd's crazy ramblings. That's a thing. Sure. That
That'd be an instant bestseller right there.
I would be into that.
Probably.
So,
Yeah.
like, stop making, like, Ghostbusters 3 is not going to happen. Just write a crazy, rambly book about all sorts of nonsense. I'll check it out.
No, what they'll do is they'll make a spin-off movie called UFO Busters.
There you go.
That would be great.
I'd watch that too. It's like Men in Black, but with Dan Aykroyd.
Good.
Like, those last two weren't amazing. 3 was okay.
That's what I mean.
We talked about it.
The first one was great, though.
Yeah, the first one's fantastic. Second one is not very good, and the third one, I think we have a digressions about it, right?
We do.
Yeah.
And we still did that. That was still probably one of my favorite, like, writing long form sort of.
I know, but it's like
thing.
It's that thing of like we rarely do the same things. So it's like now eventually we could do an Attack on Titan one.
We could do Gurren Lagann too.
If we but we need to like sync up media habits more and that becomes like weirdly like, oh, now it's like homework or something. Like you don't want to do it. So like I mean I wanted to do an Old Boy one, but it kind of didn't make sense because you didn't see the remake. So that just kind of fizzled out. And it's just like, yeah. And now I'm so far past having seen that movie, like it's totally irrelevant.
Okay. Dan Aykroyd did a documentary thing on UFOs. It's called Dan Aykroyd Unplugged on UFOs.
Okay, I knew he did a show. I was hoping there was more like of that kind of content, but okay.
Right.
Dan Aykroyd talking about UFOs, fantastic. If that's on Netflix, I'm checking right now.
Okay, next voicemail while you do that.
Hey, Paul. Hey, Nate. Yesterday I had an acute case of manly eye sweat. When I was watching Claymore, a character died. Another thing that makes me suffer manly eye sweat is the beginning of Up. My question is, what games, movies, shows, or books have moments that bring upon the horror known as manly eye sweat? What are they? I'll see you at the stream.
Lifting something heavy.
Oh, okay. Like you're talking about literal sweat.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm just like
perspiration. Sorry.
No, whatever. I don't know if I'm just like a really sappy dude. I like crying. I cry sometimes.
I like it.
Yeah, I love it when a movie just stokes up. Yeah.
I don't particularly like it. However, things will get to me, but it doesn't usually show like physically at all.
Okay.
But
Ikiru, dude, that movie just tons of waterworks. Just
the
like
end of Return of the Jedi.
And Vader's like the funeral.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, that's pretty good.
That did it when I was growing up, for sure. Like a kid.
One of the weirder ones that I don't. Okay, actually, there's a couple. I cry at movies a lot. That's been a thing. I haven't in a while, but I think that's just because I've seen everything now, so they can't surprise me anymore. But maybe I'm wrong. But like, there was a couple where it's just like, I don't know why, but I'm like, this is so emotional in a way that I just can't deal with. So I just,
like what?
Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. Like, it's just like Jimmy Stewart is just so passionate.
Damn train.
And I was just like, this, I don't know what it is. Like, nothing is sad about what's happening right now, but I was just like super caught up in it. I was also a teenager at the time, so maybe I just had weird emotional like things happening. The other one though was Fellowship of the Ring, when they crest that hill. It was like just the most sweeping moment. I was just like, holy crap, this is so awesome. And I just
like if we're talking about happy things, right?
Yeah. It was just
so like for me the return,
tears of joy.
The end of Return of the King.
Yeah.
Just because it was the end of an era, sort of thing.
It just felt
like it was done.
Yeah.
Those 3 years and 3 movies of like 3 hours each being long. It's done.
Mm-hmm.
It's all over. It kind of is happy, but not really, because life isn't happy, even in the best of times.
In a weird way. Yeah. No, there's some good stuff. So yeah, the manly eye sweat. Those are some moments that
there's probably more. I'm just trying to think of specific times. It's hard, honestly, remembering.
The truffle shuffle in Goonies, apparently.
That was pretty sad.
I don't know if, any of the, I'm trying to think of like kid kind of movies. Oh man, My Girl, that was just mean.
Oh, that was fucked up, man.
It's just mean. It's just like,
It's
what?
so bad.
I was allergic to bee stings. Like, it's just that was like unfair. I was just angry that it's like manipulative, emotional business. Like, and that actually, I was thinking about this. I think like for kids growing up nowadays, the movie that is Bridge to Terabithia. That's just bullshit.
Okay.
Like, it basically pulls the same stunt where like kid character dies tragically in stupid way, and you're just like, what? Come on.
Oh, she drowns, right?
Yeah, it's messed up. It's not. I don't know. It's like, hey, this movie is supposed to teach kids about death or something, maybe, but it's just like that's dirty. That's a dirty trick. I don't know. But yeah.
Oh, when Artax dies in the Swamp of Sorrows or whatever.
What?
Swamp of Sadness. When Artax dies, the horse in Neverending Story.
Okay, I assumed you were talking about Neverending Story, but honestly, that is on my like list of I need to see what this was because I never actually watched it.
Dude,
I know.
Oh my god, the swamp sinks in.
Oh no,
sinks people in when they're like depressed.
Oh, okay.
Basically swallows them, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And the horse gets sunk in, and he dies. And it's bad. It's so bad. What the fuck?
That sounds really messed up. Like that. That almost sounds like now Shadow of the Colossus makes more sense.
Aggro. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like I wonder if they just were like, we need a horse in here for emotional manipulation later. But
man,
Neverending Story. That's one of those things where it's just like I don't know why I never saw this, but it just didn't happen, and now I'm not sure if it'll have the same effect it was supposed to. But I feel I should check it out. I'm gonna see if it's on Canadian Netflix. It's not on American, so
I feel like Breaking Bad probably had some times that were
really
depressing. Maybe
there's some like heavy kind of just glum stuff, but I don't know. I don't think I was ever too empathetic with the characters involved, so I didn't feel bad.
Sure.
It was like, yeah, that's what happened to dirtbags. Like,
I don't know. Jesse shooting Gale was hard for me, just because it's like they don't even have a tie together. And, like, Jesse's just, like, becoming this dirtbag because he's trying to save him and another dude. I don't think he's even trying to save himself. He's literally trying to save Walter.
Mm.
And, like, that was not, like, sad, but, like, just fucked up.
Sure.
I was kind of mad at that. But
yeah, okay. So
because that dude did nothing wrong.
No,
he had to die for it.
Yeah, you're right. He was just kind of, like, a piece in this larger game. And, yeah, it's kind of fucked. Organized crime. It's not. You shouldn't probably get involved with that. It's not a good.
Do you have any examples, Oni?
I actually have a couple.
Okay.
Which I can't give specifics because undoubtedly Nathan has seen them. But Full Metal Alchemist.
Okay.
The 2003 and Brotherhood both did that to me a lot.
Okay.
And the ending to BioShock 2, the good ending, I should say.
I'm trying to remember.
It was where the big daddy actually becomes a legitimate daddy to all the girls as they grow up on the earth, or on the surface, I should say.
Was that 2 or 1?
That's
2. They get more.
That was 2.
The big daddy dynamic in the second one.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I just found that like really sweet and touching when I ended up getting it.
That game was okay. It kind of got weird.
Very action heavy.
It was, yeah. But I didn't mind most of it. The action stuff. Like you kind of have that like you set up a bunch of traps and you're like you choose when it kicks off. You know, like you kind of felt in control of when it gets crazy. So I don't know.
Wait. I had a fourth one.
Okay.
Have either one of you seen? Oh God, I'm trying to remember the name. Puelli Magi Madoka Magica, I think it's called. It's a magical girl show, but it's like one of the most depressing animes I've ever seen.
I'm
Okay.
thinking Whisper of the Heart, but okay.
What's it called again?
Hold on, I may have to type it down to you, send it to you.
It's like
'cause
Magical
it-
Pocan. It's about a bunch of sexy witches.
Puella
No.
Magi Madoka Magica.
Wow. Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
hold on. I'll type it out and I'll send it to you.
Okay. But heavy, downbeat? Like, what's the...
It's
Oh, I found it here. Okay.
it's like a very dark version of Sailor Moon. I guess that's the best way I can put it.
Okay.
Okay.
I know it sounds dumb, like when you think about it, but once you watch it, it's surprisingly good. I sat down and it's 12 episodes in like a movie, and I sat down and watched it in one sitting, and I don't know, I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Okay.
To get back on the original voicemail point, Claymore is fantastic.
What?
I really like that.
What's the original voicemail point?
No, he
thought-
said that a character died in Claymore. That's what brought it up.
Oh, that's what brought this whole thing up. Okay.
Yeah. Claymore's a
Oh.
good show. That is on Netflix. Or it
Like,
was.
There's like parts of Charlie Brown that I thought were really...
Charlie Brown in general is really depressing.
Yeah, kind of. like it's like I found it's like Snoopy Come Home or whatever really messed up. It's just like this is just down. Like it's like this, like his Snoopy's former owner kind of starts making a case for like taking Snoopy back or whatever. It's just like weird. But
Jurassic
the one,
Park, Futurama.
Jurassic Park is brutal. You're right.
It's so bad.
That was just like his loyalty killed him or whatever. It's just like, God damn you, this is horrible.
And have you seen
Dog.
those pictures on the internet of that dog whose donor or owner died? And like the last place he saw his owner was at his funeral in the church.
So
and that dog goes to
that.
He goes to the church every day and just sits there for hours.
That's so sad.
It's
Like, that's-
the worst.
Oh, dogs have like weird emotions about dogs. Like you just it turns up also like oh fuck it. Marley and Me was brutal. I was sitting there in the theater, not even really it was just like whatever. We'll check out this Owen Wilson comedy. Like my friend Ryan and I went and checked it out. And it's just like I was not expecting this to like bring up every dead pet memory I ever had.
Wait, did you cry in the theater?
Totally did, dude.
Really?
It's just like I was like you don't even prepare for it. It's just like, oh no, like this is grade 1 all back. No,
Anything-
Allison the cat. Why?
Like that's why there's that trope or whatever, and it's true. There's like animal in it. It's dead by the end. Like
Because it's
that
just an emotional
like an animal companion of some sort. It will die by the end.
That is an easy heartstring to tuck or whatever. Like
Fable too.
Pull. Sure, yeah. He told you too. It's like you're gonna feel bad about this dog, and you're just like, okay.
And then you still did, even though
you're
you.
Like, oh man, my loyal companion. And you're just like, see, I told you, Peter Molyneux.
And like, if the Last Guardian ever comes out, you know that Griffin's gonna eat it,
or the kid, and
the Griffin's gonna like carry it away or something.
Yeah, something sad
Yeah.
will happen if that game ever comes out.
Yeah,
So yeah, it's
that's
maybe
so
why
cheap though.
It is.
Using animals for that.
You're right. Because I mean, they're innocent, right? They're silent. You don't have any feelings one way or the other.
So
You just kind of
what we
generally
should
possible.
be doing in media
Yeah.
is reversing that, and that like by the end the kid dies and the dog eats his corpse.
Or if it's like a cat, it literally would. Like that's the weird thing. Like knowing that's just a thing. Like the cats will regard you as just meat after you die.
Yeah,
It's kind of like, oh, that's fucked up, but also really logical. So I get it. But that's kind
right. Cats are the Spock of real life.
Yeah, it's just like I'm hungry and you're not doing anything about it anymore. So whatever.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Reznor
Reznor won't care if that happens.
Oh, I
Kinda
think
weird,
he
right?
will.
Like we were cat sitting recently, and it's just like that thing where you just kind of consider your pet in a different light. Like they kind of don't love you, but yeah, he'll be back in like a week too. We're looking after him again, so Cat
Cool.
times. Anyway,
Cat
sorry.
times. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Oh yeah.
There's a
Whoa.
few episodes.
Did The Office get you at all though in that way, where it's just like you're kind of been with these characters for so long?
Yeah, in a way.
Okay,
But
like Fresh Prince, that's it, right? Like you basically lived with these characters for so long.
No, there's a few specific episodes. One, Will gets shot.
Whoa.
For like protecting Carlton or whatever.
Okay.
Another one is Will's dad comes back to town and like he's all happy and stuff, and they think everything's going to be okay, and then his dad just leaves again, and he has a breakdown. Just shit like that. Like it was.
I think I've seen that scene. That got like that gets referenced quite a bit as like the moment I knew Will Smith was an actor or something. It was like, oh,
yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a few of those in that show. They did some fucked up stuff in that show to those characters. Oh, which leads me to another point that has nothing to do with any of this, really.
Yeah.
So, I like Full House.
Yeah.
So, I found a website where people have written fan fiction for seasons 9 and 10 on a per episode basis of Full House. And some of them are fucked up. Like Stephanie gets into a plane crash.
Does she die?
No, because it's Full House.
Oh,
so
okay.
Still good by the end.
Plane crashes usually go really bad, but okay.
Okay, Meowth just brought up another thing, and it's kind of weird because I know they're on a delay, so she didn't hear me start to talk about Full House yet, probably. But Uncle Jesse's dad, or like grandpa or something, when he comes to visit and he like dies.
Oh, wow.
One of the episodes is one of the worst and most heart-wrenching things I've ever felt as a kid. It was so fucking bad. That was a bad time. It still is a depressing time. I don't know. There is a lot of weird shit. That was from a time where they thought kids could handle stuff, and probably can. And nowadays, everything is Pokemon. So,
is there no consequence ever in that show? Oh, I remember there was...
And then they get better.
Mega 64 talked about this one episode where it's like Pikachu's leaving, and they try to like make it this emotional thing, and there's a song playing. And I watched that clip, and that totally happens. And it's
I remember that episode, actually.
Yep. Anyway.
Yeah. Anyways, okay. So next voicemail. Here we go.
Sorry. I accidentally coughed because I'm still sick and yucky. Anyways, well, it's Super Bowl extra large vagina 4, or whatever. I can't read Roman numerals for the crap.
Okay.
Well, more importantly, now that stupid football is all done, the Olympics are coming up soon, and I'll probably be watching them on TV. So, Paul and Nathan, do you watch the Olympics? Because I tend to watch them because I like them better than the regular sports that air on TV, because the Olympics are not as loud and obnoxious. I think the Olympics are kind of more relaxing than other American sports. Well, you guys are in Canada, so you don't really know whatever happens down here, but it's really crazy how much the people down here make a big deal about sports like football and baseball and basketball.
I guess, yeah, like specifically the college football scene is something that is just totally foreign to me. Like, our local team. It's just like, is this real? Like, I thought that it only existed in like television or something. It's like, no, dude, people care. Football. The Super Bowl was like, I was seeing Flash Gordon and Logan's Run at the time, but that sounded like a boring football game. Like, I've only seen a few football games, really, but that one sounded boring. James, did you check it out? Did you watch that game?
No, I didn't. I'm not a fan of professional football.
Fair enough. Just any kind of total blowout situation like that just sounds genius. But okay, sorry. The Olympics, though, I have watched previous Olympics. Nagano, though, like I was like 11 or something. I just thought that one was kind of cool because it was just like, this is happening in Japan right now. Like, there's people across the world doing weird stuff. And subsequent ones, I just have not gotten too into. They sound like great, like I guess kind of relaxing, like just background viewing. Like you just leave it on and then there are people curling and taking it really seriously. Or like, what's the one where they're skiing and they're shooting? Biathlon? Is that literally all that?
Skiing and shooting, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
So I don't know. It's like sports you don't hear about or see all the time, so they're kind of novel, maybe. But do you have any plans at all in tuning in? Or
Yeah, they're fun.
okay,
Yeah, I don't really care about tuning in, but like I'll keep track on the news or something on websites about what's going on.
Or like the medal standings. Like Canada is pretty good at a lot of winter sports because we have a lot of winter up here. So we practice, I guess. So it's conceivable we might actually do pretty great. And that's kind of neat, I guess. It's just like, hey, Canada's strutting their stuff on the international stage. And you're just like, okay, sure. But I don't know. All I've been seeing thus far this week has just been how terrible the conditions are over there in Sochi. Like just the accommodations are quite lacking in humorous ways. So yeah,
the bathrooms,
toilets, just thousands of pictures of toilets. Like the internet's toilet, I don't know, quota has been met. It's just nuts. But that's been sort of fun to see periodically. That's the internet thing. I'm looking at this Pokemon Pikachu's Goodbye. Can I put that in the chat, or will that freak out at me?
Yeah, it should be fine. So
okay. So you're gonna put Olympics. They're kind of novel, but I don't even know if I can just tune in. Like unless they have a really good live stream set up, we don't really have television. I guess we have cable available. It's hanging up in the corner. We could plug it into the TV and see what's going on. So maybe we'll do that this week for the Olympics.
I like watching the hockey games, usually for like Winter Olympics and stuff. Like I like seeing the like Team Canada versus Team Russia sort of stuff. But other than that, I don't watch a whole lot of the actual Olympics happening. I just like to keep a tally on who's getting medals and how they did it stuff. Maybe highlights on YouTube. But other than that, not really, I guess. So I'm going to say no. I don't watch them, I guess. Not that I say it out loud. But what about you?
They are a little less bombastic than most sports stuff. So I kind of get it.
Oni, are you really into the Olympics?
I'll watch them like if I go out to eat or something like that and they're on the TV, but when it comes to being at home, no.
Yeah, it's like if I'm already enjoying a sandwich, I might glance up at that.
Yeah.
It might occupy my attention for a few seconds or minutes even. So there you go.
Why watch something I'm not going to care that much about when I could be making use of my time by playing a game or watching a movie?
Yeah.
Right.
I get that.
The best part about the Olympics is that McDonald's has those glasses you can buy.
Yeah.
So I usually go to McDonald's a lot during the Olympics.
Okay. Official sponsor.
Like, what was with that little snicker? Just like,
no, it's just
all
like,
right.
Yeah, are they good? Like, do they not wash off in the dishwasher or anything? I've had that with like novelty cups. Like, I had this really great Goldfinger cup, and now it's just a plain glass, and it's no one knows it was ever a James Bond thing.
Remember Bowfinger? Yeah,
that was okay.
See, if you had a glass of Bowfinger instead of Goldfinger, you would want it to wash off.
That movie wasn't that bad. It's Eddie Murphy.
Anyways.
Okay, fine.
Before the fall.
Steve Martin. I like Steve Martin, but all right.
Okay, so last voicemail. Here we go.
So I'm currently trying to watch 3 animes in the points of I'm 6, so I might as well. The 3 animes are Fairy Tail, Hunter x Hunter, and Space Brothers, and they are all equally enjoyable in their own rights. But they just have so many episodes that it's going to be a difficult challenge to do. Anyways, have any of you boys watched any series that went on for 100 episodes or more? And would you do it if you kind of like fell behind on a series and you had to catch up on some seasons and stuff? Because I know I had to do it with Fairy Tail because I thought that anime was canceled, but it's actually coming back in a couple months, so I might as well try to watch it and can figure out what's going on. It's in English, so hooray! I can listen to it and not have to worry about reading subtitles. Unlike Nathan, who's finally watching Attack on Titan. Dude Ranch, you slowpoke.
Whoa, getting called out.
Wow.
I've
I
only
have
really.
a saying: 100 or more, it's a bore.
Whoa.
That's not
Yeah.
true. That's not true
Well,
at all.
I'm sure that
arguably.
like Simpsons, I've seen hundreds of episodes.
I think
but
they
there's-
mean like in one sitting, not one sitting, but like throughout a month or something. And yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I've done that a few times.
Really? Wow.
Yep.
Yeah, I haven't found anything that commanded that
Try-
much attention from me.
Oh, Naruto.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
you totally
basically
devoured tons of that stuff.
that I was up till episode 94, I think it was, in like 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So there was that.
Yeah,
Full
yeah,
House. I watched not all 8 seasons within 2 weeks, probably about a year ago.
Okay.
Whenever I talked about it a lot.
Like, I mean, when I caught up to Mad Men, I was going through them pretty quick, but that's like 39 episodes at the time. So that wasn't that crazy. They're twice as long, though. So if you're like, hey, it's like 78 episodes.
Oh, actually, I watched the full first 2 series of Pokemon within like a couple weekends.
Okay.
That was shitty.
Okay.
That was a waste of time. That anime is not very good. I'd rather just play the video game.
Oh, man. You just like conjured up. This was such whatever. This is probably one of the most dumb, embarrassing, stupid memories. So in high school, whatever. I ended up watching a bunch of MASH just because a girl I liked was way into that show.
Oh man!
So I watched like
knew it.
4 seasons of that show, and I hate that show. Like, it was terrible.
Dude,
I can't deal with that show. I don't like it. But
no bitch is worth that. You know what I'm saying? Any
It
bitch that wants
wasn't
you
at
to,
all.
any bitch that wants you to watch MASH,
yeah,
ain't a bitch worth keeping. She crazy. She is crazy.
yeah. So I bailed on MASH and all those people. I've not seen high school folks in a long time. So there you go, MASH.
Do 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 do.
Yeah, I know.
Do do.
I didn't even like that movie that much.
Sorry.
Suicide is painless.
I know that song is so depressing.
Brings on many
Many
changes.
changes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Robert Altman's kid wrote that. He made more money than Robert Altman ever did off of MASH.
Good.
Yeah,
Good.
royalties and whatever. Like, Alan Alda's fine. I don't know. That show, though, I was just like, this is just tedious and I hate it. But yeah, the library provided that. I would get whole seasons from the library and just watch tons of episodes.
House.
Yep. Oh, you
watched
marathon a bunch
lot
of House?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
8 seasons of it.
Awesome.
Not hundreds of episodes, but Big Bang Theory, when that came out, like when it was on its 4th season or whatever, and I regret that even more than the Pokemon fiasco.
Mm-hmm.
What
Sounds like a
the hell
bunch
else?
then. This is like a regular thing.
Yeah, but like I don't think any of them are hundreds of episodes. I think they're at most like 60 to 80 somewhere.
Okay. So if there's an end in sight, it's okay. But if it's just like, this goes on forever, let's start watching One Piece. Like, that's not gonna...
Oh, fuck that.
Yeah. I like pirates. Let's go. No. Okay.
No. What about you,
Damn.
Oni?
Yeah. Any giant marathons?
The only anime I've actually watched that's like that was Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah.
But as far as shows in general, like I do Red versus Blue like that every not every other month, but about every half year or so. I also did that with Scrubs and a little bit of Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Okay.
Yeah, I kind of watched 3 seasons of that. Not super tight though. That was more spread out.
Yeah. The only thing I can sit down and watch like that now is probably Batman the Animated Series.
Okay. I did watch a little bit of Batman Beyond this year because I was way into that in my school days. I was like, yeah, I'll check this out again. It's okay.
I don't think there's a single thing I can really marathon right now. Nothing I'm interested in enough to watch at least 10 episodes a day.
Well, I brought it up before, and again, it's one of those shows where there's not that many episodes, but I did watch Louie pretty obsessively after the first season came out. Like, I watched that first season like 2-3 times.
It's really good, though. Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. Just like, oh, this is so great. But that's like a 20-minute comedy show. Like, it's pretty easy. So, nothing quite to the level. I just can't compete with you guys. You guys are crazy. Dragon Balls and Naruto's.
Well, like, this idea of, like, marathoning 3 different anime series of, like, 100 some episodes each, that's ridiculous. That's, I mean, you crazy. You're crazier than the bitch that wanted Nathan to watch MASH.
Yeah, jeez.
I don't know. If you enjoy it, though, it's not a problem, right? It's fun. It's great. I couldn't do it, though. Like, even something I really like, that's way too much time for me.
Yeah.
That's way too much. Although I have marathon a lot of stuff I don't particularly like. So, who's the crazy one now, I guess? Anyways, that's...
No, go on.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, isn't that more so just because you want to get it done with as soon as possible?
No, it's because I'm an idiot. Because I kind of don't care about, like, finishing. I don't know why. I guess at the time I was enjoying it. I must have. But looking back on it, it's like, I could have learned a language instead of watching that much Boy Meets World or something. So
I guess it's a little tangential from this anime, but have either of you seen that Mass Effect movie?
No, I haven't.
Okay, because like it was like returning from Ghost in the Shell. I was like, wait a minute, wasn't there a Mass Effect like anime? And it's like, yeah, there is. It exists right now. And I'm like, how have I not seen that? Because like I read a couple of those books even, and I got the comic and everything. I was kind of way into that universe. I just haven't checked it out. So I was just curious if you guys had seen it, if it's worth my time. But and money, because it's not available like anywhere. It's like, do you want to spend $28 on this Blu-ray? And I was like, I have to think about this. But okay. Just asking.
Well, that's it for voicemails, so thank you, everybody. If you want to send one, we're going to tell you right now how to do that.
Got a question or comment for the show? You can email us at podcast@pixelresponse.com or leave a voicemail using the voicemail feature on the right side of the main page. On Twitter, you can reach Nathan at Kraznor and Paul at Exposure. Be sure to check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/thepixelresponse and visit pixelresponse.com for more.
Also, use the Amazon link. Give us some money, you jerks.
And review us on iTunes and Stitcher as well.
I don't actually know if this feed is on iTunes anymore. The old one is. I'll have to check into that.
Are you serious? We're not even... The new ones haven't been going up?
I don't think through iTunes, but I'm not sure. Through everything else, yes.
Oh, okay.
I haven't had iTunes on my computer in years now. So.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
That's the podcast zone, as far as I know. So.
Is it?
I thought
still
so.
use Apple products?
I do. Yeah.
I thought that fad was over.
No, I was playing this game Threes on my iPhone. It's kind of cool.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool puzzle game. Check it out if you guys have that platform. It's not on Android.
Is it pretty great?
It's kind of cool. It's kind of a simple concept. Really, the only beef I have with it is when you fail, I don't have a means of instantly jumping back in, which I'm so used to now. So, like, sorry if that's like, yeah. It's just every time it like kind of really has this cute animation of like it adding up all the stuff and all like the little, dudes you were matching up or like laughing. And it's like, I'm just annoyed. I failed. I just want to start again. Like it gets me kind of crazy, but it's a cool puzzle conceit. I haven't seen anything like it. It's just like number doubling. You're just like matching multiples of 3 together and trying to get bigger and bigger numbers in a 4x4 grid. And it's kind of simple and cool, but I keep going back to that. It was like $2. So yeah, there you go. That's just thought I'd bring it up at the end of the show.
Latest episodes are on iTunes.
Okay, good, cool.
Yeah.
So give us a ranking there.
People can hear shit like this.
Newbies are going to get fucked.
Yeah. That's the thing, though. We're listed as TV and film on there, which is super weird to me because we mostly talk about video games.
Okay, that's from Movie Monks days then.
Yeah. So it's just like I brought up some films this week too, so that's fine. Olympus Has Fallen, and
it should almost be like culture or something, like very arbitrarily
like people,
huge.
And I don't know. Yeah, but there you go. 4 hours. I'm hearing. So take that.
4 hours.
Akira
Child's
Kurosawa.
Play,
Yeah, exactly.
but not for Child's Play, the charity which Nathan abhors.
Whoa, hey, don't context and everything. Context.
But yes. Anyways, we'll see you guys next time.
And the hat goes over the camera. There you go.
Even though we're not doing video.
Oh, I was wearing